Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. Summoner of the Undead. Skills upgrade once every second. Chapter 1. Warning, there are no upgradable skills, this system is very angry and is about to self-destruct. Warning, there are no upgradable skills, this system is very angry and is about to self-destruct. Professional Awakener Class 1, Class 5, the classroom was as noisy as a vegetable market. Chin-Z couldn't sit still. The system warning is like the ticking sound of a time bomb. It is getting louder and faster now, and it feels like it may explode at any time. Who did you learn this temperament from? Are you rushing to serve the next person? The young lady wearing black stockings and a sales microphone was introducing very quickly. Our company has launched a Warrior Job Transfer gift package, which includes a Job Transfer Book 1, a Novice Suit 1, a Basic Skill Book 1, and a Black Abyss Novice Guide 1. Now it only costs $399,999, which is a 2,000% value. Don't miss this opportunity. When time comes, you can pay in installments or in one lump sum. Our company is backed by the Lee family, one of the super families. It has a reliable background and has been certified by the school. Please rest assured that we also provide a Mage Job Transfer gift pack, worth $199,999 and a Ranger Job Transfer gift pack, worth $399,999, Assassin Job Transfer gift package, worth $99,999. In addition, everyone is in luck this time. Our company will also give you a free opportunity to play high and low in the Black Abyss dungeon. If you are willing, you can come over for consultation and apply for a preferential student loan. In 3 days, the school will issue a career transfer letter. But companies that sell career books will choose this node to sell career gift packages to students in advance, and they can start leveling 3 days in advance. Do you think you are excited or not? Chin-Z also wants to buy it, but he is an orphan and has no money. The best assassin job changing gift package costs 100,000. And his pocket is cleaner than his face. If you want to change jobs and clear dungeons, you have to make a first recharge. This world is dominated by Kryptonians. Are we ordinary people also part of the Kryptonians? But he has a system, and he is scared. If you go any slower, you will explode. This is the most fatal thing. Chin-Z immediately stepped forward, squeezed through the crowd of people who didn't want to buy anything, and shouted to the lady in black stockings, "What is your most expensive professional gift bag? Give me one." As soon as these words came out, the noisy classroom suddenly became quiet. All eyes turned to him. Chin-Z, you are really brave. The young lady in black silk stockings suddenly beamed with joy, and quickly took out a gift bag with a skull printed on it and said, "Oh, this classmate's family must be very rich, so this undead summoner is tailor-made for you. It is super powerful in the early, middle and late stages. I believe you have also seen the video, a professional who only clears the Black Abyss dungeon. Only the summoner of the undead. 990,000, I strongly recommend installment payment. Now there are student loans with discounted interest rates. I know your family is not short of money, but no one thinks that the discount is too small, right?" Summoner of the Dead. Chin-Z's eyes lit up. This profession relies solely on skill release and has little to do with one's own numerical values. Coupled with the skill upgrade system, it is a perfect match. But this 990,000 is too exaggerated. How many installments can be taken at most? Chin-Z asked. 10 years, but I don't recommend that the installment time be too long, as the interest will roll up too much. I suggest that the installment be just 1 year, and the interest will only be a few hundred yuan, which is very cost-effective. Oh, then give me 10 years. Now that he has a system, he might be able to take off within a month. And this world respects strength. Are you embarrassed to let a peerless genius take on a loan? Maybe it will all be wiped out by then. If nothing else, the Lee family is a super aristocratic family, right? If I kill them all for you, does that mean I don't have to pay back the money? 10 years. Miss Black Silk was stunned. Others exploded with a bang, discussing Chin-Z's death-seeking behavior. At this time, his best friend Lu Yong rushed in from outside the crowd and grabbed Chin-Z. "Brother, eldest brother, wait a minute, do you know what 10 years of installments means? You have to be a dog for the Lee family for 10 years, and I'm holding my hand. I'll let you do all the dirty work for your debts. There is also this high-level new dungeon event in Black Abyss. Which high-level professionals do you think are idle and have nothing to do? Please help us. They have no choice. The installments are getting bigger and bigger, and the debts are getting bigger and bigger. Many people are no longer able to repay them, so they can only let the company control them without any resistance. These people will be the company's dogs from now on. Do you also want to be like this? Chin Zi's expression changed slightly. Thinking about it carefully, this is really the case. Being in debt is equivalent to having your future bought away by others. And these companies that sell job transfer gift packages have really sinister intentions. Job changers are the largest resource in the world, but they are stuck at the time when the official job book is released, and then seize the resources of job changers. Other students also agreed and said this was a trap. It is better to wait for the official release of the career book 3 days later. But I don't have enough time. Chin Zi frowned. The lady in black stockings couldn't sit still and said quickly, "You can't say that. As long as you control your funds reasonably and don't spend too much, what you said won't happen. Of course, you can also set your own limits. Limit to avoid overspending." Lu Yong glanced at her, and then continued, "There is also the summoner of the undead. This thing is simply not something that we civilians can afford. The skills, equipment, and attributes must be refreshed. The money consumption is at least as much as other professions. 100 times that. It's true that summoners of the undead are strong in the early, middle and late stages, but that's all survivor bias. It's normal for most summoners of the undead to be weak in the early, middle and late stages. Even some big families often fall over." Lu Yong said excitedly, his face turning red. He was really worried about Chin Zi. Chin Zi felt a little warm in his heart, silently remembering Lu Yang's kindness in his heart. At this time, other students also said, "That's right, warrior is the ultimate profession. Both civilians and rich people can choose it. Why not buy a warrior career change gift package? I don't think warriors are good. Their legs are too short. If you encounter some agile monster and you are about to be killed alive, I think ranger is good. You can just shoot randomly with a bow. If you move better, you can pass the level without getting hurt." Quote. Wushang, you're thinking about shit. The difficulty of Black Abyss is obvious to all, and it is extremely difficult to improve the level. If the ranger's output fails to increase, it will basically be considered useless and no one will want to form a team. Buy an assassin. They will all become useless in the end anyway. If you can't defeat the assassin, you can still run away. I guarantee that no one can catch up. Quote. The classroom immediately became noisy again. Nearly half of the students chose to buy the job transfer gift package. After purchasing, it is equivalent to 3 extra days of leveling time. This time difference is the biggest temptation. Lu Yong, I still want to. Chin Zi looked at him apologetically. Lu Yong sighed. Hey, I knew it was like this. You are too stubborn and can't be persuaded. Just be confident in your own mind and don't go too far. I understand. Chin Zi nodded, then stepped forward and said, I'll buy a Undead Summoner job transfer gift package. The price, is spread over 10 years. Lu Yong. Miss Black Silk Stockings, are you sure you want to spread it over 10 years? The interest will also increase more than 10 times. In 10 years, it may reach 70% of the principal. How about we go back and discuss it with my family? Miss Heisey couldn't help but ask. She needs to complete the KPI, but she doesn't want to ruin a young man's life. In the end, even the head teacher came out and persuaded Chin Zi earnestly. Think twice before you act. Don't think twice, hurry up and apply for the loan. Chin Zi urged. The system is about to explode in my head. You, Miss Black Silk hesitated to speak. There is a feeling of guilt in pushing a young boy into the abyss with his own hands. Moreover, this boy is quite handsome, with sharp eyes and eyebrows. Although I felt a bit regretful, my movements were very deft. All the loan procedures were completed in a few minutes, and I was waiting for Chin Zi to sign it to take effect. After Chin Zi signed, the lady in black stockings held a job transfer package with a skull on it and handed it to Chin Zi with a professional smile on her face. Okay, thank you. Chin Zi couldn't wait to take the job transfer package, and then he blinked. Why did you change jobs? I'll take you to the temple to change jobs and drive my car. Miss Heisey actively invited you to calm down the guilt in your heart. Okay, let's set off quickly. Chinzi can't wait any longer now, the system is going to explode. Seeing this, other students shook their heads and sighed. Hey, it's hard to persuade the damn devil with words. I remember that it was the most difficult to upgrade the undead summoner in the early stage, and the summoned objects were also very weak. I saw in the video that those little skeletons could scatter themselves as they walked, let alone spawn monsters. It was impossible to form a team. People want it. Yes, even if there is a chance of a high-level and low-level Black Abyss dungeon, let him upgrade to level 3 at most, and then, you must know that level 10 is the official start of the profession. He will definitely regret it in the future, but well, he brought this on himself and cannot blame others. Quote. Temple job transfer will provide an opportunity for talent awakening. If choosing a career change is the first time you choose your own destiny, then awakening your talent as a God-given destiny. The 9 great temples are distributed among the 9 states. When the Black Abyss appeared and invaded mankind, thanks to the professional power given to mankind by the temple, through hundreds of years of hard work, the current stable situation was achieved. Then the super aristocratic families emerged, taking advantage of their money to gain access to professional resources. The once stable human edifice has become crumbling as a result. An undercurrent of crisis may erupt at any time. Only by becoming stronger can we survive. Classmate Chinzi, your name is Chinzi, right? I would like to ask, why did you choose Summoner of the Undead? Miss Heisey asked doubtfully while driving her beetle. Because you said this is the career with the most potential for development. Ah, no. The black silk lady was panicking. She was only boasting about the high performance of the undead summoner. And the other party seemed to really believe it. Well, Chinzi, what do you do at home? I am an orphan. My parents died in the war. The young lady in black stockings was suffocating for breath and was about to have a heart attack. She suddenly thought to herself, I really deserve to die. The temple soon appeared in front of us, a huge Gothic building. After getting off the bus, Miss Heisha ran back and forth to help Chinzi handle various procedures. She was extremely efficient and helped him get everything done in just a few minutes. He only needs to enter directly and test the job transfer. If he had to do it by himself, he would have to travel for at least an hour, and the various documents would make his scalp numb. I'm in. Chinzi nodded towards the black silk lady. Come on, you must awaken your A-level talent. Miss Heisha prayed for Chinzi with tears in her eyes. Chinzi took the job transfer package of the undead summoner and walked quickly into the job transfer room. There was a temple receptionist inside, and he made an inviting gesture towards the square table in the center of the room. Please place your job transfer token here. There was darkness all around, except for a beam of light from the ceiling, which shrouded the square platform. Full of divinity, Chinzi nodded, then opened the job transfer gift bag, and saw the job transfer token for the first time. It was a gray skeleton, which was cold to the touch. After placing it on the high platform, chanting slowly sounded from all around. Chinzi felt like he was surrounded by coolness from all directions, which was the breath of the undead. After a few seconds, the temple staff slowly spoke. Congratulations, you have successfully transferred. Next is the awakening of talent. Please let your mind go and your talent will appear naturally. I see. Chinzi closed his eyes and followed the instructions to clear his mind. Soon, magical power rose from the bottom of his heart, and he successfully sensed it. B-level talent, Resonance Crystal. Resonance Crystal. Place the 3 highest level skills in the Resonance Crystal. Other skills can share skill levels. The shared level is the lowest number. After the skill is removed from the Resonance Crystal, there will be a 48-hour cooldown. B-level talent, not bad. Please leave from here. The tone of the temple staff remained unchanged and the whole process was calm. Not bad indeed. Although Resonance Crystal is a B-level talent, when paired with the skill upgrade system, it is a perfect match, even better than an S-level talent. How is it? What level of talent has been awakened? Miss Heisey saw Chinzi coming out and ran over to ask. Judging from his excited look, he seemed to be more concerned than Chinzi. Well, B-level talent, Resonance Crystal, can share skill levels. I really deserve to die. The black stocking lady slapped her forehead. If I had known better, I wouldn't be selling undead career books. Lu Xiu, you sold your soul for performance appraisal. The guilt in my heart reached its peak. Qinzi couldn't care about the remorseful young lady in black stockings at this time. He found a plastic stool and sat down, then opened the career change gift bag, quickly flipped through it, and finally took out a professional skill book. Small skeleton summoning technique. Just such a skill book? Qinzi asked in surprise. This is a bit too dark. Ah, ha ha ha, yes, I used to have 2 copies of the job transfer gift package, but now the company feels that the cost is a bit high, so I cut one. Miss Heisi smiled guiltily. But in my heart, I couldn't help but curse myself. Lu Xiu, you are so special and not a human being. After listening to your words, people will choose Summoner of the Undead or 10-year installments. He is still an orphan, how will he live in the future? If your conscience is eaten by a dog, how can you deceive a child? Oh, Qinzi frowned, and then activated the small skull summoning technique. Green light immediately poured out. Congratulations, you successfully learned the skill, small skeleton summoning technique. Small skeleton summoning technique. Chant for 3 seconds to summon a weak skeleton to fight for you. Duration, 1 day, mana consumption, 50 points. Skills increase 1 level every second and are officially activated. Small skeleton summoning technique LV.1. Chant for 3 seconds to summon 2 weak skeletons to fight for you. Duration, 1 day, mana consumption, 50 points. Little skeleton summoning technique LV.10. Chant for 3 seconds to summon a skeleton with strong bones to fight for you. Duration, 1 day, mana consumption, 50 points. Small skeleton summoning technique LV.11. Chant for 3 seconds to summon 2 tough skeletons to fight for you. Duration, 1 day, mana consumption, 50 points. LV.11 right pointing arrow LV.12. LV.12 right pointing arrow LV.13. The noisy system warning sound finally disappeared from my mind. The whole world became extremely quiet. Instead, small skeleton summoning technique is like a stuck point, growing continuously, and the skill introduction is also constantly changing. Small skeleton summoning technique LV.55. Summon a bunch of weak skeletons to fight for you. Duration, 1 day, mana consumption, 50 points. Qinzi. Add a little bit every second, and there will always be a time for promotion. Lu Xiu, who was wearing black stockings, stood next to him and did not leave, looking struggling. There were 2 voices in her heart, fighting frantically. The first one, of course, is to leave immediately. Lu Xiu, you are just a little salesman. You have done your best to send this child to the temple. How miserable the other person will be in the future has nothing to do with you. Leave now and you can get rid of this hot potato immediately. The second voice yelled, Lu Xiu, you are not a human being. You tricked me into being like that. I helped you complete your performance appraisal in 10-year installments. She is still an orphan, and now you actually want to run away. We don't have much power, so at least I can leave my mobile phone number so that I can help you in the future. Why are you still here? Qinzi asked in surprise. Lu Xiu looked troubled. She was still in a state of confusion and couldn't make a decision. At this time, a large number of students walked in outside the temple, all of whom had purchased career gift packages in advance. Among them was his best friend Lu Yang. As soon as he came in, he saw Qinzi and Lu Xiu wearing black stockings next to him. He walked over and glared at Lu Xiu, who lowered her head guiltily. Then, Lu Yang looked at Qinzi and asked with a smile. Hi, Qinzi, have you completed your job transfer? What is the awakening of talent? Well, the talent awakened is B-level resonance crystal, which can share skill levels. Qinzi replied casually. B-level talent, not bad. Lu Yang's eyes lit up. For students like us, it's a big deal if they have any talent. 60% of them have no talent. 30% of them are between grades F and C. Grade B is among the top 10%. Grade A is among the top 10%. The level probability can be 0.3, and the S level should be infinitely close to 0. Awakening B-level talent means you are already far ahead. If you put it in the warrior profession, it will take off. But the summoner of the undead wastes B-level talent. As Lu Yang spoke, he immediately gritted his teeth and stared at Lu Xiu. If this woman hadn't lied to people, things wouldn't be like this. A good B-level talent was wasted. Lu Xiu's delicate body trembled. She was finished, and she would be punished even more. Qin Zi's talent is B, which is not enough for Summoner of the Undead, but if used for other professions, the probability of taking off will be greatly increased. Because of myself, I ruined others. Now, Lu Xiu didn't dare to look at Qin Zi, afraid of seeing resentful looks. However, Qin Zi was completely unaware of this. He was watching the constantly upgrading small skeleton summoning technique. When the level reached LV.500, the skill finally began to improve and change. Small skeleton summoning, right pointing arrow, big skeleton summoning. Big skeleton summoning technique. Summon a ferocious big skeleton to fight for you. Duration, 1 day. Mana consumption, 100. Big skeleton summoning technique LV.1 right pointing arrow LV.2. LV.2 right pointing arrow LV.3. LV.3 right pointing arrow LV.4. Wait, mana consumption is 100. Qin Zi suddenly had an ominous feeling. If I continue to be promoted like this, I'm afraid I will exceed my upper limit of mana. He quickly brought up the attribute panel, and the values above confirmed his conjecture. Name, Qin Zi. Title, None. Level, LV.1. Occupation, Summoner of the Undead. HP, 500. Blue amount, 100. Strength, 5. Agility, 7. Intelligence, 13. Remaining free attribute points, 0. Skill, Big Skeleton Summoning Technique LV.22. Talent, Resonance Crystal. Equipment, none. The current amount of mana is just enough to cast the Great Skeleton Summoning Technique. After one more promotion, his mana limit will be exceeded. You must upgrade quickly, otherwise there will be an embarrassing scene where the skill keeps upgrading, but my mana limit is exceeded. No, it is a destructive scene. Qin Zi's hair stood on end, and he felt a sense of horror. His mana will never catch up with the cost of skill upgrades. By then he will be like a useless person, and the 990,000 yuan he just borrowed will kill him. Brother, I have something to do and I have to leave first. I'm sorry that I can't accompany you to change jobs. I'll treat you to a supper in a few days. Qin Zi patted Lu Yong on the shoulder and prepared to leave. Hey, why are you leaving? I'm planning to upgrade you after you change jobs. Lu Yong was very surprised. You are too weak now to form a team. Lu Xiu suddenly said, I know some high-level professionals who can help you connect and lead you to upgrade. Lu Yong reprimanded angrily. Shut up, you bad woman, are you trying to steal our money again? Lu Xiu did not retort, but her nose twitched twice, as if she was about to cry. She really wanted to help Qin Zi. However, it does cost a lot of money to ask a high-level professional to take care of you. She also had no ability to give high-level professionals free of charge, so she could only give Qin Zi a reduction or exemption from her share of the commission, which would cost more than 10 or 200,000. It doesn't matter. After all, it's my own choice. I can't blame others, Qin Zi said with a smile. You go first, I'm fine here. In Lu Xiu's eyes, a warm smile was more lethal to her. Why don't you scold me? It's okay to slap my ears twice. Qin Zi, what a fetish. Qin Zi didn't slap her ear, he just called each other. If you have any questions in the future, please feel free to contact us. After finishing all this, Qin Zi went straight to the Black Abyss link without stopping. If he doesn't upgrade now, he will just cry when his skills are upgraded. Lu Yong watched Qin Zi leave and sighed slightly. A good B-level talent was wasted like this. Later, the head teacher and other students also arrived one after another. What? Qin Zi has awakened his B-level talent. But he chose the Summoner of the Undead. The head teacher beat his chest heartbrokenly. A good young talent was ruined just like that. Why does God play tricks on people like this? After hearing this, the students were also shocked. Oh my God, Qin Zi actually awakened his B-level talent. I can count the number of B-level talents that Linhai City can produce in a year with 2 hands. It's a pity that he chose the wrong profession. B-level is better than the undead summoner. This profession is not very useful, at least it must be a level or above, S level is the best. What on earth is Qin Zi thinking? I really want to interview him. Summoners of the undead are only chosen by big families, and they have the means to detect talents in advance and choose them only after they are sure that everything is foolproof. It would be better for him to just come up and be reckless. Tisk, tisk, I think it will be difficult for him to reach level 5. No more, no more, I'm going to change my profession to a ranger as soon as possible. Do you want to form a team and let's clear the simple level of Black Abyss together? Okay, I'm a warrior, and I can pull monsters for you. Hey, add me as well, I'm an assassin. You can be an assassin, too. The job change gift pack comes with a set of novice equipment, and the attribute bonuses are okay. You just need to be careful not to die. Understand. ... Everyone was talking and started to form teams with each other. Everyone can just say a few words about Qinzi, and no one will pay special attention to it. After all, he should sink to the bottom of the water soon and make no sound. Liu Yang, do you want to team up with us and try the dungeon? If you bring Qinzi with you, I will go with you. You also know that I have practiced martial arts for several years. My strength attributes and body skills are much higher than ordinary people. I can hold up to 1.5 people. Liu Yang has just changed his profession and became a berserker. His attack is higher than that of ordinary warriors, but his defense is weaker. No, you can stand up to 1.5 people, but Qinzi is not a person at all. In the end, there is still half a person missing. It's not that we don't take him with us. The difficulty of Black Abyss is obvious to all. Broken arms and legs are common. We can't risk our own lives. Well, forget it, I'll look for someone to see if I can take him with me. Liu Yang was not angry. After all, everyone had their own considerations. He himself didn't want to see Qinzi sink like this. So I want to help him. Qinzi took a taxi and came to the Black Abyss link. He still has the money for the fare, but there is no installment payment. This is the Black Abyss link. It's so spectacular. Qinzi looked at the huge object spinning like a black hole in front of him, with a circle of light around it, distorting the space. While the professionals were going in and out of the black hole, some were bullish, some were listless, and even worse, being carried out on a stretcher. He took a deep breath and then strode into the center of the black hole. It's very lively inside, like a hall. There is a huge electronic screen in the middle, which broadcasts some professional news and team information. China's strongest Mandisha has successfully upgraded to level 70, which is gratifying. He is currently ranked first in the world, and is expected to conquer the level 70 Wasteland dungeon in the near future. 56-level strongman Chen Guang was hunted down by people in the dungeon gap. His whereabouts are still unknown. Those who help will be heavily rewarded. Second Soul Palace has been successfully established. Please sign up enthusiastically. Those who are successfully admitted will receive a hefty reward. Qinzi glanced at the screen and shook his head slightly. He looked at his attribute panel, Big Skeleton Summoning Technique LV.1230. Before I knew it, it was already over 1,000 levels. Qinzi immediately felt full of pressure. He had to quickly go to the Black Abyss to upgrade, so he quickly took out a black card from the job transfer gift bag with a twisted circle printed on it. This was the Black Abyss entry ticket. When you come to the entrance, a prompt appears in front of you. Easy level, normal level, difficult level, and dangerous level. All 4 levels need to be entered in a team, and cross-level challenges are not possible. You need to clear the copy of the corresponding level before you can choose freely. Nightmare level, you can choose to play alone or in a team, and you don't need to clear the level. It's a bit too arrogant to directly choose the nightmare level. Let's just test the water first. But what to do if they want to form a team? Qinzi thought of his opportunity to lead a high and a low team. So, he dialed Liu Xiu's phone number. Hello. Liu Xiu's voice sounded on the other end of the phone, with a hint of trembling. Well, hello, I just bought the Undead Summoner job transfer gift package. Qinzi, I remember you, what's the matter? Qinzi was stunned, thinking that the other party had a pretty good memory, and so many people who bought job transfer gift packages could still remember him. I need to level up now, so I'm contacting you to redeem the opportunity for high and low levels. I wonder when you can contact me for me. Oh, don't worry, I will make arrangements right away and I will find the most powerful high-level professional for you. I need 4, because the dungeon requires 5 people to enter. There is also a specific time when it will be available. I am very anxious. 4. Lu Xiu on the other side of the phone was stunned, then gritted her teeth and said, "Okay, I'll find 4 for you, but I hope you don't tell others. Generally speaking, I can only find a high-level person to lead you, but I can use my small authority to recruit the entire team for you. Everyone has around level 10. Thank you so much. When can we get it all together?" Qinzi narrowed his eyes with a smile. But soon, the smile froze. Half an hour. Toot toot. After hanging up the phone, Qinzi did some calculations and found that his skills could be upgraded 1,800 times in half an hour, and he could be promoted early. But he couldn't ask others to teleport to him immediately. It's really difficult. When he opened the properties panel and took a look, he felt instantly chilled in his heart. Big Skeleton Summoning Technique, successfully promoted. Elite Skeleton Summoning Technique, LV.57 right pointing arrow LV.58. LV.58 right pointing arrow LV.59. LV.59 right pointing arrow LV.60. Elite Skeleton Summoning Technique, summons a giant skeleton that is powerful in all directions, duration, 1 day, mana consumption, 150. It's over. The amount of mana has exceeded my upper limit. Cannot be summoned. Qinzi felt his heart tremble. I suddenly felt panicked. The system won't just die out, right? Qinzi walked back and forth in place, his brain running at the speed of light. Suddenly, a girl dressed as Catwoman appeared next to her, holding a large suitcase filled with bottles and cans, with red and blue liquids sloshing inside. "Sir, if you have the red medicine in your hand, it will remain strong. If you have the blue medicine, it will last forever. You are right to prepare a few more bottles. There is a discount now. It is 500 yuan a bottle. There are discounts for large quantities. You must be here. You can't find one cheaper than me, meow." Qinzi's heart moved. Yes, he still has the novice suit to wear. Maybe I can add 50 points of mana. Sorry, I don't need it right now. Qinzi waved to the Catwoman girl, and then immediately went to take out the gift bag, only to find that there was only a Black Abyss guide left in it. He was stunned, then opened the properties panel and saw the word warehouse in the lower left corner. Click on the warehouse, and 5 pieces of whiteboard equipment will appear in it, including the Undead Staff Novice, Undead Cloak Novice, Undead Soft Armor Novice, Skeleton Necklace Novice, and Undead Boots Novice. Undead Staff. Wearing level. LV.1. Attribute bonus. Intelligence +1, Strength +1, Mana +50. Equipment ability. The singing time of undead skills is shortened by 1 second. Introduction. The staff is made from the bones of the undead. It feels cold to the touch and never warms up. Qinzi immediately became excited when he saw that the staff had 50 points of mana added to it. Isn't this just the solution? Cloak of the Undead. Wearing level. LV.1. Attribute bonus. Intelligence +1, Agility +1, HP +100. Equipment ability. Chanting for 3 seconds can apply a continuous frost effect to the enemy, causing continuous deceleration and consuming 5 magic points per second. Introduction. It looks like bat wings and is said to be able to glide briefly after being unfolded. Undead Soft Armor. Adds 1 point of intelligence, 2 points of strength, 300 HP, and no additional abilities. Skull Necklace. Adds 2 points of intelligence, 100 magic power, temporarily summons a small skeleton, lasting 5 minutes. Undead Boots. Increase intelligence by 1, agility by 2, and can slide forward on flat ground. As soon as he put on the Undead Novice suit, he immediately turned into a cold undead summoner, and the surrounding air seemed to be freezing. This outfit is very nice, cold and mysterious. Qinzi looked in the mirror and nodded with satisfaction. He glanced at the time and realized that only 5 minutes had passed, so he went to the Black Abyss management office to buy a temporary room to test his abilities and then decide what level of dungeon to upgrade. Temporary room, 1,000 yuan per hour. The management lady said without raising her head. Can it be divided into installments? The management lady raised her head and twitched her mouth. Ha, after spending 1,000 yuan, there was only 22,000 yuan left in the small treasury. Qinzi took the white card given by the young lady and came to the Black Abyss link. Whether to enter the temporary room. Yes. The next second, his eyes flashed with flowers. After Qin came to his senses, he found himself standing in a pure white room, with a testing pillar standing in the center. He didn't know what material it was made of. After confirming that no one was around, Qin suddenly raised his staff. Come out, my elite skeleton. Within 2 seconds of chanting, a circular pit large enough to swallow a car appeared in front of him. The strong hand bones burning with flames stretched out from it, and then they lay on the ground, supporting the skeleton body and slowly crawling out. Finally, a 3-meter-tall giant skeleton with its upper body burning with flames appeared in front of Qin. The skull was square, with sharp teeth staggered up and down, and 2 horns on its head. After the flaming skeleton appeared, he turned around and knelt on one knee in front of Qin. Qin looked at the behemoth in front of him and was speechless. The opponent was taller than him even when he was kneeling. Elite Skeleton Monster. Level. LV.1 cannot surpass the Summoner. HP. 6400. Attributes. Strength 370, Agility 232, Intelligence 77. Skill 1. Sacrificial Flame. The soul flame is permanently burned on the elite skeleton, which can cause 77 points of magic damage per second to nearby enemies. There is no limit on the number of units and no consumption. Skill 2. Heavy Attack. The elite skeleton monster accumulates strength for 1 second, causing a powerful blow of 640 points of damage to the enemy. Hitting the body has a chance of being disabled, hitting the head has a chance of double the critical hit, and has a stun and knockback effect. Skill 3. Using local materials. The elite skeleton monster removes its own ribs, increasing the attack distance by 1 meter, and has a large-scale killing effect. The final damage caused is plus 50%. It can also have the special effect of sacrificial flames, causing continuous burning to the enemy. Introduction. A flammable and angry skeleton. More than 6,000 HP and over 100 attributes. This is only the level 1 value. If my level increases, the level of the summoned skeleton will also increase, and its attributes may become even more abnormal. With such strength, you should be able to clear the simple level alone, right? Qin's heart moved, thinking of the little skull summons attached to the skull necklace. So I thought about comparing the strength. Come out, little skeleton. As he chanted, a sound similar to chattering teeth sounded. Patopopopopop. There was a shaking sound of joints, and a trembling little skeleton appeared. Only half a meter tall, with eyes like a muumuu. The 3-meter-tall flaming skeleton slowly looked over. Wow! The little skeleton panicked and fell apart. Death. Qin. He now finally understood why others were not optimistic about the summoner of the undead. Just this little skeleton. He has no problem hitting 10. Elite skeleton, attack the test pile with all your strength. The fire skeleton nodded, then turned around and strode towards the test pile, clenching his fist and smashing it hard. Boom! The test pile sunk down, and the damage value slowly emerged. Minus 412. Minus 77. Minus 77. The sacrificial flame clings to it and burns continuously. I remember that normal level monsters have around 500 HP. They should be able to sweep through them now. Heiyuan's basic distribution rules for experience and props are to distribute them according to the proportion of effort. If there is only one person contributing from the beginning to the end, and the others have 4 pendants, 95% of the experience value will be given to the solo player, and 5% will be divided among others, people. At the same time, the experience rewards will change with the level of the members. If you bring a group of high-level people to do it alone, the difficulty will increase and the experience bonus will be very exaggerated. So he decided to go solo with 4 high-level players. At this time, the cell phone rang. Qin thought it was Lu Xiu who had done it, but when he picked it up, he saw that it was Lu Yong. After the call was connected, the other party's concerned voice came. Brother, where are you now? I redeemed high and low times and am waiting in the temporary room. What's going on over there? Oh, then you just wait. I also use the high and low times. When you come out, call me and we will form a team to find other people. It's easier to find someone with a higher level. What do you think? Then it's settled. Qin was also worried about the problem of not having enough people in the team, but Lu Yong solved it. After a while, Lu Xiu called and said that 4 high-level professionals had arrived and were waiting for him in the lobby. Qin Zi's heart moved and he immediately exited the temporary room. When he arrived at the designated place, he found a fashionably dressed woman leaning against the wall and puffing away, looking very leisurely. There were 3 other people beside him, indifferent and silent. "Are you Qin Zi?" The fashionable woman was the first to notice Qin Zi and asked lazily, turning her head. "Let us high-level professionals wait, you are still the first. Let's go, make a quick decision, and get this shit done quickly." The fashionable woman wiped out the cigarette butt and threw it into the trash can nearby. Seeing this, the other 3 people also came over one after another. "There is absolutely no idea of exchanging names. I want to pass the ordinary level Black Abyss dungeon this time. I hope you won't take action. Let me try to kill the monsters first. If I really can't handle it anymore, you can take action again." Qin Zi looked at them and said, "No, it's a waste of time." One of the men with his head raised up said, "Then I will file a complaint against you so that you can't get the money." "What, boy, are you tired of living?" The man with the big back was startled, and then said ferociously, "Forget it, A's, let him do it. What kind of disturbance can a first-level kid create in the ordinary level Black Abyss? Even as 10th level professionals have to cooperate with each other to pass." The fashionable woman said calmly, "Open your mouth." Cut. The man with the big back glared at Qin Zi, then turned his back. "Then it's settled. Let's go, I'm in a hurry." "Hey, when can I repay the loan? I don't want to bring in new people anymore." "Finished. I bring in new people every day and have no time to pay. It has become a vicious cycle." Amid the noise from his teammates, Qin Zi formed a team with them. After entering, I found that their personal information was hidden. Only the level and occupation are displayed, and most of them are above level 10. "How about we exchange names and get acquainted?" Qin Zi tried to ask. "It's nothing to do with each other. If you're level 1, don't try to get close to us." The man with the big back interrupted without hesitation. Qin Zi looked at the others with similar attitudes. He nodded and said nothing more. Summoner of the Dead. Choose an ordinary level copy of Black Abyss. Whether to enter. Yes. Along with Qin Zi's affirmative voice, his eyes became distorted. The sound of insects echoed in the surrounding grass. There was a faint rancid smell in the air. This is a manor, with villa-style high-rise buildings behind flowers, plants and trees. The moment the 4 high-level people opened their eyes, their expressions immediately became alert, their bodies tensed, and a touch of fear spread among them. Apparently, they had some bad memories here. Ouch! A terrifying scream sounded from the grass nearby. "Something is creeping toward me. Everyone, please remember our previous agreement. Let me try to kill the monster first, and you will take action when I can't hold it anymore." Qin Zi was afraid that they would be too nervous and forget, so he reminded him again. "Then hurry up, didn't you hear the monster has come out?" Fashionable women kind of want to curse. "Oh, come out, my skeleton." Qin Zi raised his staff and beeped twice. "Well, it turns out that the mana was consumed just now, and now it is not enough. Can any of you lend me a bottle of blue medicine? I don't have enough mana." Qin Zi said with some embarrassment. "What?" The 4 of them all widened their eyes, looking like you're kidding me. The moonlight poured onto the ground and the grass swayed. The monster crawling on the ground finally appeared. It has sharp claws that are as sharp knives, a rotting human body, and a mouth full of sharp teeth. Yellow eyes immediately locked onto them. Ordinary monster ghoul. "Here, hurry up." The fashionable woman quickly threw a bottle of blue medicine to Qin Zi. Immediately afterwards, she signaled the other 3 with her eyes, which were ready to fight. The other 3 nodded repeatedly, not expecting Qin Zi to fight against the ghoul. "Come out, my skeleton." Elite Skeleton Monster Summoning Technique LV.1789. Summon a bunch of elite skeleton monsters to fight for you, lasts for 1 day, consumes 150 mana points. As Qin Zi's singing ended, terrifying circles opened on the ground. The flames are burning in it, with the will to destroy everything. Fashionable woman. Man with big back. The other 2 people. What movement, this is. Thick arm bones burning with flames popped out from it, and huge black shadows 3 meters high appeared one after another. The ghoul, which was grinning and crawling over quickly, remained still in place. The head slowly rises. The next moment, a flaming bone fist slammed down. Damn, the ghoul was smashed flat like a fly. -432. -77. Congratulations, your elite skeleton monster killed a ghoul and gained experience, 20 points. Almost twice the experience value. Under normal circumstances, ghouls only give 10 experience points. Fragrant, so fragrant. No, what's going on? The surroundings were filled with terrifying and tall fire-burning skeletons, and there were at least 7 of them by visual inspection. And these high-level professionals, were trembling among the skeletons. Is this a newcomer? Is this the summoner of the undead? The originally strange manner was instantly blown away by the fire. A fashionable woman, a man with a big back, and 2 other high-level professionals. They all opened their mouths in unison, first looking at the flaming skeletons around them in shock, then at the ghouls that had been hammered into meatloaf, and finally their eyes fixed on this so-called newcomer. How can these 3 be connected? Who are you? The fashionable woman was no longer as lazy as before. She looked at Qinzi with shock on her face and asked this sentence with difficulty. Normal people, everyone, please come with me and I will take you through the customs. As he spoke, Qinzi continued to walk forward, with 7 flaming skeletons following closely around him, surrounding him like stars over the moon. The defenses are so dense that even if a fly flies in, it will hit 2 large sinuses. The other 4 people were a little embarrassed, and they were moving here and there among the skeletons. The fire skeleton didn't care about their life or death at all, it only moved at Qinzi's pace, and it was possible to step on them directly. Susu, Susu. The surrounding grass began to shake again, and ugly-looking ghouls crawled out one after another, their sharp claws scratching sparks on the concrete pavement. This time a total of 5 ghouls appeared. They had just climbed out 2 steps when they saw 7 flaming skeletons, looking at them eagerly. There was only time for an idea to pop up in my head. The flaming skeleton's big hand fell from the sky and directly grabbed a ghoul. The sacrificial flames continued to burn, and the ghouls were struggling crazily. -77. -77. The 4 fashionable women looked at this scene dumbfounded. The ghouls, they need to cooperate with each other to kill or like toys in their hands. The next second, an extremely horrifying scene appeared. The ghoul actually tore it open from the middle and threw it away casually. Congratulations, your elite skeleton successfully killed a ghoul and gained experience, 21 points. On the other side, 4 ghouls also died one after another. Some were trampled to death, some had their heads ripped off and stuck on dead branches, and some were directly smashed. -507, -513, -520. There are many ways to die. I have to say that the elite skeleton monster has some artistic qualities in him. Congratulations, your elite skeleton successfully killed a ghoul and gained experience, 21 points. Congratulations, your elite skeleton successfully killed a ghoul and gained experience, 21 points. Congratulations, you have successfully reached LV.2, all attributes +1, free attributes +5, HP +200, mana +100. Is this an upgrade? Is it hard? Qinzi was a little confused and continued walking forward. The 4 people, including the fashionable woman and the man with a big back, were so shocked that they could not speak at this moment. What just happened? Why did the ghoul break when touched? Why is it that I no longer had the ruthlessness to deal with them in the first place? Finally, when they saw the mess all over the ground, they realized that Qinzi's skeleton was too powerful and cruel. The fashionable woman took a deep breath, then looked at the other 3 people and said, I think we need to get to know this person, what do you think? Yes, we must make friends. This kind of terrifying power is really amazing. I still can't figure it out. Even a genius from a big family can't achieve this. The gap is unimaginable. Fashionable woman. If it's hard to imagine, don't think about it. There are many things in this world that are beyond our knowledge. If you could figure it out, you wouldn't be standing here anymore. I see. The 4 of them finished their discussion. The fashionable woman cleared her throat, and then caught up with Qinzi with a sweet smile. Brother, you are so awesome. We are all on the same team and we don't even know each other's names yet, ha ha ha. Ah, don't you want to communicate with each other? That person said they were talking nonsense before. Chin-zi pointed at the man with a big back and a slender head behind him. The latter immediately turned red and turned his head. The fashionable woman glared at him fiercely, then quickly said with a smile, "He is joking with you." Chin-zi did not answer her question, but asked another question. "I may set a new record this time, you can't take advantage of me in vain, right?" As soon as these words came out, all 4 people present froze. They came to help new people pass the customs, but instead they let the new people break the record. Don't care if they charge record-breaking fees. Is this reasonable? It is very reasonable. Well, our economic conditions are not very good, otherwise we wouldn't be doing the job of bringing in the old and bringing in the new. If we can really break the record in the end, each of us will give you a piece of level 10 equipment, green quality or above. What do you think? Level 10 equipment, okay. Then let's talk about it when the copy is over. The fashionable woman responded repeatedly, okay, okay. She originally wanted to talk about adding each other as friends, but seeing that Chin-zi didn't want to pay attention to her at all, she could only regretfully give up and follow him silently, her walking posture becoming much more restrained. The manor is very large, and it takes half an hour to walk along the road alone. The ghouls rushed out from all directions, and their numbers were increasing. From 10 at the beginning, to 20, and now 30 at a time. The 7 elite skeleton monsters disassembled their own ribs one after another, and then grabbed them in their hands. The ghouls pounced on them and knocked them away like a baseball. Generally speaking, it has disintegrated in midair. If you can hold it until it lands completely, you can give it a thumbs up. Congratulations, your elite skeleton successfully killed a ghoul and gained experience, 22 points. Congratulations, your elite skeleton successfully killed a ghoul and gained experience, 23 points. Congratulations, you have successfully reached LV.3, all attributes +1, free attributes +5, HP +200, mana +100. Congratulations, you have successfully reached LV.4, all attributes +1, free attributes +5, HP +200, mana +100. Since the elite skeleton monster was summoned when he was at level 1, his attributes are also at level 1. The elite skeleton monster he summons now will be level 4. However, level 1 can still be used. There will be a window of a few seconds after recycling and then summoning, and it is very likely that you will die suddenly. After killing more than 30 ghouls, they finally walked out of the grassy path. A white marble fountain appeared in front of them, with detailed carvings and a beautiful shape. The fountain seemed to have not been taken care of for a long time and was covered with dust and fallen leaves. The fountain shape is quite nice. The fashionable woman came up and said, according to the guide, this manor seems to have been a wealthy family, with many people living in it. But the strange thing is that the manor couple seems to specialize in adopting orphans. On difficult difficulty levels, you will see many little ghosts and monsters. Quote, orphan. Chin-zi is a little sensitive to this word. Suddenly, a tall ghoul appeared above the fountain. Just lying on the ground is 2 meters high. Compared with ordinary ghouls, he actually has long black hair that just reaches his shoulders, and he looks quite artistic. Ghoul boss. Above the marble fountain, the long-haired ghoul boss slowly crawled out. The head of an ordinary ghoul is just a big meatball, but this one has long black hair and looks much more elegant, but it also gives people an extremely terrifying feeling. Is this going to be a boss battle? My level hasn't been raised yet. Chin-zi frowned. Almost an hour has passed since entering the instance. Seeing this, the fashionable woman hurriedly came up to her and said, brother, now is the most difficult part. Oh no, it is when there are the most monsters. The ghoul boss will not run down now, but will release 5 wave monsters consume our strength. When the last wave of monsters appears, it will rush down with the ordinary monsters and attack us. It turns out there are monsters to kill, that's great. After this is over, I should be able to reach level 10. Chin-zi was very happy. Fashionable woman. Man with a big back. 2 other senior professionals. In order to reach level 10, they spent a full 3 years, fighting wits and courage with the ghouls every time. It took a full hour to kill a ghoul at the beginning, with various moves and various moves. After taking medicine, I reluctantly killed him. Immediately afterwards, a group of ghouls died again. They were lucky enough to escape from several battles and escape from the dungeon. Those who were unlucky would have been fed into the stomachs of ghouls. 3 years, do you know how these 3 years have passed? As a result, this newcomer could easily reach level 10 in just a few hours. When we met just now, it was still level 1, so they needed to come here to take care of it. After all the hard work, you almost caught up with them. At this moment, the 4 people had mixed feelings and didn't know what to say. The development of the copy is exactly what the fashionable woman said. The ghoul boss did not rush forward, but instead let out a cry of unknown meaning. The ghouls crawled out from the surrounding small houses, and some could vaguely identify gardeners, waiters and other costumes. 5 of you go to fight, and the remaining 2 stay with me to protect me. Qin Zi issued the order. The 5 elite skeleton monsters removed their ribs and then strode forward. Perhaps due to the influence of the boss, ordinary ghouls appear much more violent. More than a dozen of them besieged an elite skeleton monster. They rushed up from all directions. Some lay on the back of the elite skeleton monster, while others spread their legs, and some even burrowed into the gaps between the bones. The ghoul opened its sharp teeth and bit hard at the bones. Sparks flew out, making the sound of metal clashing. 23, -27, 22. Damage values continue to pop up from the heads of elite skeleton monsters. For a blood volume of more than 6,000 points, it is really tickling. However, the clumsiness of the elite skeleton monster is reflected this time. They wave their ribs and can only drop one at a time. However, the sacrificial flame can cause area-wide damage. -77, -77, -77. The 2 sides fought together, and the ghouls died quickly. Congratulations, your elite skeleton successfully killed a ghoul and gained experience, 21 points. Congratulations, your elite skeleton successfully killed a ghoul and gained experience, 21 points. Congratulations, you have successfully reached LV.5, all attributes +1, free attributes +5, HP +200, mana +100. The second wave of ghouls came, and this time they actually reflected a silvery luster, looking like metal, and their resistance to flames was greatly improved. Ghoul Elite. The elite skeleton monster raised its ribs and slammed them down at the silver ghoul. -537. This hammer did not kill the silver ghoul. The opponent staggered out and wanted to continue attacking. After the second hammer fell, the silver ghoul died. Congratulations, your elite skeleton monster killed a ghoul elite and gained experience, 32 points. Qin Zi noticed that the killing efficiency of elite skeleton monsters was decreasing. It is impossible to take it back now and summon it again. He has never commanded a real battle, but he has played a lot of real-time strategy games. So he immediately ordered 5 elite skeleton monsters shrink their front line and stand in a small ring to fight. The 5 elite skeleton monsters obeyed Qin Zi's orders perfectly. They gave up paying attention to the ghoul elites hanging on their bodies, and all turned around and walked towards the center, eventually forming a circular position back to back. The only ghoul elites that needed to be dealt with were the fan-shaped area in front of them. Just swing the ribs and smash them randomly, no skills are required at all. Boom boom boom. -501, -512, -529. The ghoul elite quickly lost the power to resist. It was so smashed that I couldn't even lift my head. Congratulations, your elite skeleton successfully killed a ghoul elite and gained experience, 33 points. Congratulations, your elite skeleton successfully killed a ghoul elite and gained experience, 35 points. Congratulations, you have successfully reached LV.6, all attributes +1, free attributes +5, HP +200, mana +100. Before I knew it, another hour had passed. Qin Zi was a little tired from standing and watching. He flexed his ankles and said to himself, "Oh, I'm so tired from standing. Find a place to sit down." Single quote. There are 2 elite skeleton monsters guarding him, and he is not afraid of sudden death at all. He looked around and then picked up a stone brick. Little brother, how can you sit on the stone bricks? This thing is so dirty, it will stain your equipment. The fashionable woman ran up at this time and threw the stone bricks in Qin Zi's hand. Then where should I sit? I have a deck chair with me in the warehouse, as well as tents, sleeping bags, etc. We need to be prepared for everything when we go out. As she spoke, she actually took out a recliner from the warehouse. Then he placed it in front of Qinzi very thoughtfully. Ah, don't you need a rest? I will be very satisfied if I can achieve record-breaking achievements. But little brother, it must be very hard for you to kill monsters all the time, so you are the one who needs to rest the most. Thanks. Qinzi was indeed a little tired. He lay down on the chair and breathed a sigh of relief. Feeling comfortable. It would be nice if I had something to drink. Walking all this way without drinking a sip of water is really killing me. Qinzi said to himself again. He never thought of putting some daily necessities in the warehouse. When I came in, I found out there wasn't one, so I had to wait for the monsters to be killed. For drink, the fashionable woman was stunned for a moment, and then she pulled the man with a stern look in her eyes. The big-backed man resisted for a moment, then reluctantly took out the long-cherished champagne from the warehouse. This is what I prepared to celebrate the loan being paid off. He muttered and took out 5 more goblets. This is champagne to celebrate your promotion to level 10 in advance. We have another strong general in Kyushu. Cheers. The 5 goblets collided together, making a crisp sound. The fashionable woman held a goblet and couldn't help but sigh. I never thought that clearing the ordinary level copy of Black Abyss would be so simple and pleasant. It's like a dream. Others also nodded, with mixed emotions. They remembered the first time they faced a ghoul. Many people had the experience of being scared to death. They were rolling around, crying and howling, and now this young man was chopping melons and vegetables into them. It's so irritating that people are so different from each other. Suddenly, Qinzi, who was lying on the rocking chair, said, "Everyone, I have something to ask you. No matter what, as long as we can help, we will be happy to help." The fashionable woman's eyes lit up and she quickly stepped forward to ask. The other 3 people also cast concerned glances. "I hope you won't reveal the details of clearing the dungeon." Qinzi spoke slowly. "So that's what happened. Don't worry. The 4 of us are very strict with our mouths. We will never say anything if we shouldn't. We will definitely not cause any trouble with you." The fashionable woman nodded repeatedly. "Well, I'm just making a suggestion. In fact, it won't have much impact on me whether I say it or not. That is. This world respects strength. Qinzi's ability to clear ordinary level dungeons is revealed, and he will receive olive branches from more forces. It's just that they keep a low profile and don't want to talk about it." As he spoke, the white light on Qinzi's body emerged again. The upgraded light shocked everyone. Upgraded again. It is now LV.7. The rocket-like speed of upgrading made them all jealous. At the same time, in the simple level copy of Black Abyss, the terrifying ghoul was crawling quickly on the ground, its claws like sharp knives making sparks on the cement road. Under the attack of the ghouls, the 5-man team was in a panic. Quick, soldier, push me up. You can't always rely on me for your special code. I'm going to be dragged to death by you. Ranger, where are you, Ranger? Where the hell are you hiding? You disappeared from me even though you were 100,000 feet away. You are a long-range person, so you are scared. Give me the output. Lu Yong, well, you did a pretty good job. Everyone should learn how Lu Yong fights. I am asked to lead new people every time. It really gives me a headache. Quote. Under the attack of 3 ghouls, the 5 people were completely in chaos. The 10th level high-level monk was struggling to deal with 2 ghouls, and he kept hitting the ghouls' heads with the stick in his hand. -132. -143. He was very satisfied with his damage, which was considered very high for a 10th level high-level person. Next to him, Lu Yong was holding a novice spear. He kept pulling at the ghoul with his positioning, and took advantage of the attack distance to constantly wear down the ghoul's health. -28. -31. In the end, the ghoul was beaten to death by force. Upgraded white light appeared on him. Phew, finally upgraded to level 2. It's not easy. Lu Yong looked at the dead ghoul and breathed a sigh of relief. He now realized how difficult it was to kill a ghoul. When the ghoul appeared before, the 3 newcomers in the team actually vomited out. Facing the ghoul, they lost all resistance and hid wherever they were safe. Fighting is a tightrope walk between life and death. Most people don't have this awareness, so they are destined to be unable to become professionals. Lu Yong looked at the frightened 3 people and shook his head slightly. It's better to seize the opportunity to enter the factory. Liu Yong took out a bottle of red medicine and drank it, and his blood volume, which was about to bottom out, increased again. He looked at Yu and thought worriedly, I don't know what Qinzi is like. He spent a 990,000 loan to buy a gift package for the summoner of the undead. If he can't become a professional, then he may not be able to become a professional for the rest of his life. It's over. As long as you fight and don't run away, and you can successfully upgrade to level 2, this is considered a victory. After we go out, we will form a team and slowly upgrade. At the same time, 5 elite skeleton monsters were still fighting fiercely. The number of silver ghouls in the manor has grown to hundreds. They crawled quickly on the ground, densely packed, making people's hair stand on end. Is this the difficulty level of Black Abyss at the normal level? It's too scary. Qinzi was surprised when he saw hundreds of silver ghouls. It takes a while to kill all the elite skeleton monsters. What should you do if you encounter this situation? If the 4 of us want to deal with the 4th wave of monsters, we can only use the terrain, such as a narrow passage that can only accommodate 2 ghouls side by side. We will get stuck there, and then rely on medicine bottles and healing skills, slowly consume it with the corpse. Replied the fashionable woman. This kind of danger is high, so when we come in, we will prepare a scroll to return to the city. If there is any emergency, we will crush it and run away. That's it, it's really safe. Qinzi nodded. With the attribute strength of high-level people, it is still very easy for 4 people to fight against 2 silver ghouls. There are marked spots for killing monsters in the Black Abyss guide. Generally, with the help of this kind of terrain, not only the safety is greatly enhanced, but the efficiency of killing monsters is also improved a lot. Okay, let me go back and take a look. As soon as these words came out, the 4 of them looked shocked. You didn't even read the guide and just jumped in. However, seeing the brave flaming skeleton, it seems that it is okay not to read the guide. Boom boom boom. The elite skeleton monster removed another rib and held 2 curved bones in its hands. The attack frequency increased slightly, but the damage was slightly reduced. They waved their 2 ribs and beat them wildly. -478. -469. The 2 damage values appeared almost at the same time. Instantly kill the silver ghoul that rushes up. Congratulations, your elite skeleton monster killed a ghoul elite and obtained experience 32, ghoul hand claw equipment *1. Congratulations, your elite skeleton monster killed an elite ghoul and gained experience 34. Did the equipment explode? Qinzi's eyes lit up and he quickly opened the warehouse. The claws, which are like blades, lie quietly in the warehouse. Ghoul claw, LV.5, dedicated to melee professions such as warriors and monks. As soon as Qinzi saw that it was only for melee professions, he didn't want to read any further. After it's released, sell it on the exchange, or if someone needs this piece of equipment, it's not a bad idea to give it away as a favor. Brother, come here, eat a bag of potato chips and wait patiently. There are even potato chips, thank you. Qinzi was lying in the recliner, feeling a little bored. A bag of spicy potato chips was delivered to me. It has to be said that when the fashionable woman saw her own strength, her attitude immediately changed 180 degrees, and what she did in the end was very much in line with Qinzi's wishes. Unfortunately, he generally did not associate with such inconsistent people. Eating potato chips and drinking champagne leisurely until you are full and drunk. All the silver ghouls are finally dead. Qinzi also successfully upgraded. Congratulations, you have been upgraded to LV.8, all attributes +1, free attributes +5, blood volume +200, mana volume +100. The long-haired ghoul boss finally couldn't sit still anymore and slowly climbed down from the stone fountain. The slightly relaxed atmosphere suddenly became tense and solemn. Silver moonlight spreads down from the sky. The long-haired ghoul boss slowly climbed down from the stone fountain, and the silver ghoul crawled out from all directions again, bringing ordinary ghouls with him. This time the whole family went out together. Black Abyss boss, long-haired ghoul. Level, LV.5. HP, 13,500. Attributes, Strength 153, Agility 162, Intelligence 23. Skill 1, Bite and Devour. Skill 2, Violent Aura. Skill 3, Moonlight Revival. After it climbed out, it stretched out its paws to comb its long black hair. Until all elites and ordinary ghouls are in place. Then it screamed. Then it quickly crawls on the ground, moving in a snake-like zigzag. Climb up to the flaming skeleton and suddenly jump up from the ground. It spreads its limbs like a carnivorous spider pouncing on its prey. The flaming skeleton didn't react. The long-haired ghoul boss sat on its shoulder blades, clamped his legs, and raised his claws high, flashing cold light, and suddenly stabbed the flaming skull's head. Chang! The sound of metal clashing sounded. Countless sparks burst out. -327. The fire skeleton is not a living thing, and even if its head falls off, its activities will not be affected. It's just invisible. The long-haired ghoul boss is in the sacrificial flame. 23. -25. Boss's resistance to flames is very high, and his long black hair did not burn. Qinzi looked at the battlefield from a distance and couldn't help but complain. Then the attack speed of the long-haired ghoul boss suddenly increased. The two claws flashed arcs of light in the air, and could attack twice in a row every second. It fired at the head of the burning skull. At this moment, the sound of breaking through the air roared next to it. As soon as it turned its head, it saw a rib getting bigger and bigger in front of its eyes, and finally hit it suddenly on the forehead. Heavy hit. Trigger double damage. -1089. The long-haired ghoul boss immediately fell into a dazed state and fell straight down. The 5 fire-burning skeletons immediately moved and stood around the long-haired ghoul boss, staring at him with burning ghostly fire in their eye sockets. The long-haired ghoul boss recovered from his dizziness, and then saw 5 menacing skeletons around him. 0 DQ. Then came the ribs falling from the sky and hitting it hard. -489. -493. 23. -501. The 5 fire-burning skeletons swung their ribs wildly like iron. Even if ordinary ghouls and elite ghouls crawl over and attack wildly on their backs, it will be unreasonable. The sacrificial flame alone can burn an ordinary ghoul to death. That's too cruel. If this stick goes down, won't your brains be knocked out? I don't know why, but I suddenly feel that the ghoul boss is a bit pitiful. Quote. When everyone saw this scene, their eyes looked weird and they complained. The long-haired ghoul boss tried to get up more than once, but endured a heavy blow to his ribs to escape from the predicament of being beaten. But just as it raised its head, a heavy blow landed accurately. It was immediately hit and dizzy. It stretched out its claws to protect its head, and then its claws were dented and deformed. -1032. -512. -531. It's a pity that the Black Abyss copy does not have fall protection and does not have hegemonic time. If you are attacked with such heavy blows, you can only admit defeat. After a series of crazy blows to the ribs, the blood volume of the long-haired ghoul boss also dropped rapidly. When it finally dropped to 5,000 points, it suddenly raised its head and roared like a husky. Its body is also rapidly turning red. No, the boss is about to go berserk. It will be immune to various controls, and a series of attributes such as damage and speed will increase significantly. Everyone get ready to fight. When the fashionable woman saw this, she immediately shouted nervously. The other 3 nodded solemnly, then turned around and climbed up the big tree next to them. Hurry up, you can't be careless in this situation. Seeing Qinzi not moving, the fashionable woman immediately shouted. But the boss is dying. Qinzi pointed forward. What? The fashionable woman was stunned and quickly looked forward. At this moment, the long-haired ghoul boss was seen holding his head high and screaming, and the rib stick was hitting his head hard. But the ghoul boss didn't respond at all, insisting on letting others knock him. He looked very stubborn. A heavy blow from the stick will double the damage. -970. -982. -993. The long-haired ghoul was already dead before his eyes turned red. Congratulations, your elite skeleton monster successfully killed the ghoul boss and gained experience 3000. Congratulations. Obtained Ghoul Summoning Skill Book 1. Congratulations. Obtained Equipment Ghoul Ring 1. Congratulations. Obtained Item Manor Key 1. You have been upgraded to LV.9, all attributes +1, free attributes +5, blood volume +200, mana volume +100. Note: the normal level copy has been cleared. Please leave within 1 minute to settle the clearance time. Level: LV.9. HP volume: 2400, mana volume: 1000. Attributes: Strength 13, Agility 15, Intelligence 21. Remaining free attribute points: 40. Skill: Epic Skeleton Summoning LV.532. Talent: Resonance Crystal. Equipment: Novice Undead Staff, Novice Undead Boots, Novice Undead Cloak, Novice Undead Soft Armor, Novice Undead Necklace. I didn't expect this ghoul boss to be a vicious kind. I took so many blows to my head that I can't even move. He was beaten to death. Qin felt happy. Although I didn't reach level 10 this time, level 9 is not bad. Moreover, boss also revealed a ghoul summoning skill book, which is exactly in line with his undead summoner. Say nothing and study immediately. Qin took out the ghoul summoning skill book and used it immediately. Well, green light emerged, and Qin felt a vague connection with himself. This was the ghoul summoning technique. Ghoul summoning technique. Summons an ordinary level ghoul to fight for you, lasts for 1 day, consumes 100 mana points, learning condition is LV.5, career restriction is undead summoner. The skill upgrade system currently only allows one to be continuously upgraded. The skeleton summoning technique has just been upgraded, and it will take a long time to continue to advance. It's better to pull up the ghoul summoning technique first. Ghoul summoning technique, LV.1 right pointing arrow LV.2. LV.2 right pointing arrow LV.3. LV.3 right pointing arrow LV.4. The level continues to increase. The copy is over, let's go out first. Qin turned around and looked behind him, only to find that 4 high-level people were looking at him with complicated expressions. After finishing a wave of dungeons, he was really promoted to level 9. Just 1 level behind and catch them. It was almost like a dream. The team left the dungeon, and the record-breaking announcement immediately sounded. Congratulations, the record for the fastest clearance of the Black Abyss ordinary level has been broken. The clearance time is 2 hours and 27 minutes. A small gift package for clearance will be distributed and you will obtain the Speed Pass achievement of the Black Abyss ordinary level copy. The announcement sounded, instantly causing an uproar. Someone actually broke the record. There was a trace of envy in Liu Yang's eyes. Hey, we didn't even get out of the initial map, and the 5 ghouls were defeated. If they hadn't run fast, they might have been trapped inside. I don't know if Qin has come out. Normal level copy of Black Abyss Dark Knight Manor, currently being settled. Raid SSS, Reward SSS level treasure chest, normal copy, experience 1000, equipment forging hammer 1. With the settlement reward ringing in my mind, Qin felt that the space in front of him was distorted. When he came back to his senses, he found that he was already standing at the dungeon transfer point. The surrounding professionals stopped their busy pace and looked at them in shock. It's out, the record breaker is out. 4 at level 10 and 1 at level 9. It seems to be a record-breaking team in the profession. Their lives will be better in the future. Various endorsements and resources will continue to come to them. I'm envious. As long as I have a record-breaking title, it will be much easier to do anything in the future, and there is a high probability that I can rise. Soon, professionals from further away also ran over, and many professionals use the communication function to shake people. Come over and see, someone has broken the record. What's so good about breaking records? It's not you who broke the record. It was broken in 2 hours, and it was an ordinary level copy of Black Abyss. Whoa, sao, where is it? On the other side, teachers and students of Vocational Awakening High School were gathering in a corner. The head teacher is still taking the trouble to explain the precautions to the students. The path of a professional is extremely difficult and tortuous. Even for Di Sha, the strongest person in China, his leveling journey was not smooth, but he finally rose up. So, I hope that after you enter the dungeon, you won't be embarrassed to use the town return scroll just for the sake of so-called face. This thing will protect your lives. At this time, a student suddenly pointed into the distance and said, "Teacher, how does that person look like he is from our school? What did he do before? Oh, by the way, he purchased the Summoner of the Undead Career Change gift package in installments for $1 million. He is a real grievance. Ha ha ha, I also remembered buying a flashy undead summoning scroll in installments of 1 million, what do you think? He must be disabled. You won't be able to see him again in a few days. Hey, that's not right. Why is Chin-Z surrounded by so many people? What did he do? All the students started shouting, and the head teacher frowned and looked back. Immediately afterwards, the head teacher's body froze in place, and he shouted a Chinese quintessence sentence. Idiot, teacher, what's going on? Some boys understood and were stunned, and many girls asked innocently. Chin-Z, he broke the record. And it's an ordinary level copy. The head teacher spoke blankly, like a bomb exploding in the crowd. No one expected that Chin-Z, who had an installment of 1 million and became a big grievance, would break the record and become the focus of everyone's attention. No matter how naive you are, you can understand the value of breaking a record. Many professional teams will spend a lot of money to buy the record-breaking title, which will have a 20% bonus on subsequent rewards, and store owners will also ask for endorsements. It can be said that as long as you have such a title, you will not have to worry about food and drink in this life. I really want to marry him. Can anyone help me match him? I want to get married too. It's so cool. As long as you get such a title, you don't need to work hard or download dungeons to kill monsters. Money will be paid automatically every day. I'll ask Chin-Z later if he likes men. Liu Yang, who had just come out of the dungeon, was surprised to see Chin-Z break the record. It must be the work of 4 high-level people. However, when he heard the comments from the classmates around him, he suddenly stopped. Last time you said that Chin-Z was a grievance, but today has not even passed yet and you immediately changed your tune. The past was before, the present is now. I just want to find a husband with a title, can't I? Okay. Liu Yang shook his head helplessly. These guys are really thick-skinned. One stone stirs up 1,000 waves. Chin-Z and others were surrounded on 3 floors inside and 3 floors outside. The professionals raised their heads and looked inside, wanting to see the face of the record breaker. There were even reporters sneaking in, taking pictures with simple cameras in their hands. The record-breaking time this time was too exaggerated. It was only 2 hours and 27 minutes, which was almost 3 times faster than the previous record of 8 hours and 59 minutes. After the report comes out, it will definitely be big news. There is an open space within a few meters around Chin-Z, and everyone is guarding this open space. As they moved forward, an empty path opened up in front of them. It seems like a scene of a hero returning in triumph. It ended like this, just like a dream. The fashionable woman sighed with complicated expressions. They came over and led the low, but they didn't make any move during the whole process. It also broke the record, by the way. Outrageous, really outrageous. Yes, I used to think that I was unlucky, but then I realized that the gap between people is not that big. They are all at level 9 now, and they are almost catching up with us. Quote. Several other people looked behind them thoughtfully. Brother Chin-Z, we will sort out the level 10 weapons and equipment in a moment, so that they can be used by the undead summoner as much as possible, so that you will not have to look for equipment everywhere. That'll trouble you all. Chin-Z nodded and dismissed the team. Wait a minute. The fashionable woman saw Chin-Z who was about to leave and shouted quickly. They were obviously the ones who came here to take Chin-Z through the customs map, but now they were a little reluctant to part with him. May I ask, what are you going to do next? Well, I plan to try the nightmare level copy and see if I can pass it. Hiss. The sounds of gasping for air were heard one after another. Don't go. The man with the big back said excitedly. What's wrong? The reason why nightmares are nightmares is that once you go in, you can't get out. How many geniuses have entered with full confidence, but in the end there is no news. No one can pass through there. The man with the big back had a trembling voice, and his face was filled with fear. Just thinking about this makes you afraid of being like this. Chin-Z was surprised. Then he nodded and said, "Thank you for your advice, I understand." When the other 3 heard that he was going to the nightmare level copy, their eyes also changed. Looking at Chin-Z was like looking at a dead person. Because the nightmare level abyss has another name, called the Tomb of Geniuses. Specializes in treating dissatisfaction. After the team disbanded, the 4 fashionable women immediately went to find equipment for Chin-Z. Chin-Zi decided to wait and upgrade his skill level first, buy some props and daily necessities, and then think about entering the nightmare level Black Abyss dungeon. After all, it is a nightmare level, so you must give it enough respect. At the same time, Lu Xiu was wearing black stockings and sales headphones. Her mind wandered frequently, and her face occasionally showed worry and regret. I don't know what's going on with Chin-Zi. Reward distribution will be reduced for high-level professionals. If he can reach the 3rd level, he will already have a high level of success, and then he can only rely on himself. When I think of Chin-Zi being an orphan, and his solemn words. Lu Xiu wanted to scold herself. Lu Xiu, you really deserve to die. Suddenly, the phone rang suddenly, and she immediately answered the question. The copy is over, how's it going? A sigh came from the other end of the phone, which made Lu Xiu feel nervous. Chin-Zi is finished. He still fell into the nightmare trap. Lu Xiu stood stunned on the spot as if struck by lightning. Ah. Chapter 11. The person you found for us is too perverted. The kind that cannot be described in words. The fashionable woman lamented on the phone. Abnormal. Lu Xiu was stunned. For a moment, she couldn't tell whether it was a compliment or a derogation. After all, when girls curse, they often use pervert. Yeah, I was on tenterhooks all the way. The 4 of us can only survive by following him closely. The more Lu Xiu listened, the more confused she became. Was it because Chin-Zi was too good, so they had to protect him closely to save his life? She couldn't help but feel a pain in her heart. Tragic, really tragic. She could already imagine Chin-Zi escaping in embarrassment in the copy. There was also the skeleton summoning technique that he learned. As the other party said, it was very rubbish. She specifically searched for the video to see it. The little skeleton was staggering when walking, and the bones and parts on its body were scattered around. And all this is because. When Lu Xiu thought of this, her heart ached even more. I ruined a child's future. What future has been ruined? The fashionable woman asked doubtfully. Ooh, class. Lu Xiu choked up and revealed her heart. There was silence on the phone for more than 10 seconds before the fashionable woman spoke. You really deserve to die. Can you say this? That's a B-level talent. If you apply it to other professions, you will have great achievements in the future. But if you ask people to choose the summoner of the undead, is that something ordinary people can choose? The regret and guilt in Lu Xiu's heart suddenly increased. I'm guilty. Lu Xiu slowly knelt on the ground and shed tears. If she could go back in time, she would slap herself twice without hesitation. Let you ruin other people's lives for the sake of KPI. That's just a child, and a child full of potential. Hey, don't blame yourself too much. Everyone should be responsible for everyone's choices. Look at it openly, we are just ordinary people with no power, not gods. Really, thank you, I feel better. You should carry some armor or something with you from now on, and be careful about getting stabbed on the street. Lu Xiu. After hanging up the phone, Lu Xiu continued working listlessly. She is 22 years old and works as a priest. She once wanted to become a professional, but when she entered the Black Abyss dungeon for the first time, she was so frightened that she wet her pants. Especially when she saw the ghoul disemboweling the companion next to her, it left a lifelong shadow on her. Therefore, she knew what Chin-Zi would face. The lock screen news showed, #surprise. The clearance record of the ordinary level Black Abyss copy has been broken, and the time has been shortened 3 times #. Lu Xiu took one look, then turned off the phone and put it in his pocket. The record-breaking incident is brewing, and it was first discussed on a small scale by professionals. Finally, it was reported by the news media and spread, causing shock across the country. At the same time, the report strictly controls the personal information of Chin-Zi and others. It is extremely difficult for ordinary people to know the specific contact information. However, if some well-known forces want to purchase this information, it is very simple. They only need a large amount of money to obtain all personal information including contact information. The personal information of the 5 Chin-Zi people is also extremely expensive. Even so, their phone calls were almost all blown up, and all of them were from forces that wanted to cooperate. It's really a headache. The private messages are almost exploded. After Chin-Zi hung up the unknown caller, his scalp went numb when he saw the number 999+ in the private message box. Too exaggerated. It's like being raped by the internet. I want to rent a temporary room. How long is the rental period? The lady at the front desk asked without looking up. Come on for 10 hours first. Okay, the total is 10,000 yuan. Do you want to transfer it or pay by card? 10,000 yuan, can I pay it in installments? Huh, the lady at the front desk raised her head with her mouth raised, and was stunned when she saw it was Qinzi and the title he displayed. It can be divided into installments. How many years do you want to divide it into? 20 years, maybe. The lady at the front desk. Qinzi entered the temporary room and looked at his small treasury that was still intact, showing a satisfied look. Who wants to pay in one lump sum when you can pay in installments? If this momentum continues, he might become a world-famous super genius in a month, and it shouldn't be difficult to get rid of all the debts. This is the best way to get the ultimate free. Come out, epic skeleton monster. Qinzi raised the undead staff in his hand and chanted for 2 seconds. A black and purple swirling circular hole appeared on the ground ahead. The radius is about 2 meters, giving people a sense of weight. A purple light, symbolizing nobility, lit up inside the rotating pit, and then a figure slowly rose up, turning out to be a giant purple skeleton. In front of it stands a purple patterned sword, holding the hilt tightly with both hands. The head was lowered, and the eye sockets of the skull were dark. Like a sculpture. After it was fully raised, purple flames ignited in the skull's eye sockets, and then it strode to Qinzi and knelt on the ground with one knee. My lord, Qinzi was stunned by its temperament. Is this a skeleton noble? Every movement was done with decorum and restraint. Epic skeleton monster. Level. LV.9 cannot surpass the summoner. HP. 23,400. Attributes. Strength 782, Agility 881, Intelligence 328. Skill 1. Death Energy. Skeletons born in death have the ability to wither away all things. All enemies approaching will have the negative effect of death fragility. Both attack and defense will be weakened by 45%, and the rebirth ability will be invalid. Skill 2. Jumping Heavy Attack. The skeleton monster raises the purple patterned sword in his hand and slashes forward with all his strength, causing 2,132 points of damage. There is a probability of triggering a beheading effect, which can directly split the enemy in half, regardless of boss or ordinary monsters. Skill 3. Shock Trample. The skeleton monster tramples the ground hard, causing counter shock force to all enemies within a radius of 7 meters, forcing them to fly up, and interrupting all chanting and spellcasting effects. Skill 4. Great Sword Summoning. The skeleton monster is born with a purple patterned sword, which can be summoned from the air and returned to the hand. When used, all attributes increase by 20%, and the wounds caused cannot be recovered by themselves. Evaluation. A noble skeleton fighting in the north and south. So strong. If we talk about elite skeleton monsters, they are just powerful skeletons sweeping across the wild. The epic skeleton monster has a structure that makes demons afraid of it. Attack the center test stake with all your strength. As you command, my lord. The nearly 5-meter tall skeleton monster stood up slowly and suddenly jumped forward. The 5-meter tall purple figure raised his sword forward and struck vertically. The breath of death spiraled out. Boom! With a loud noise, the purple sword struck from top to bottom. The test pile collapsed from the middle and flew far away on both sides. -2031. Super high damage values slowly emerged. The purple sword danced like a sword flower in the air and was inserted deftly into the ground. The epic skeleton monster knelt on one knee in front of Qinzi, with the same 2 words. My lord. Qinzi nodded, feeling very satisfied. The damage of the epic skeleton monster has been increased by 4 times, and its movement flexibility has been greatly improved. It has strong combat skills, which can be seen from the sword flower dance just now. It would be difficult for the ghoul to rely on its flexibility to jump onto the back of the skeleton monster and bite it. It jumps in the air, and the epic skeleton monster can chop it up. Nightmare level copy. I have some confidence. But it's not enough. Qinzi knew very well that the value of the epic skeleton monster was only about the same as that of the nightmare level dungeon boss. It was okay to deal with the mobs, but it was a bit difficult to fight with the dungeon boss. However, his skills can improve a little bit every second. At most, it's not too late to wait a few more days to raise the skill level, and then go in to brush it up. There are many skills that a 9th level undead summoner can learn, such as summoning skills, auxiliary skills, damage skills, etc., all of which can be learned. The disadvantage is that they are extremely expensive and cannot be afforded by ordinary people. Most professionals don't need that many skills. 2 or 3 are enough. With more than one skill, even the mana amount is not enough, and the brain will be easily burned out. Qin opened the skill bar, and the newly learned skills lay quietly in it. Silver-skinned ghoul. Chant for 5 seconds to summon a large group of metallized ghouls to fight for you. Duration, 1 day. Mana consumption, 100. Come out, ghoul. Qin raised the staff in his hand and spoke a series of words. As his voice fell, there was a scalp-numbing rustling sound all around, like insects crawling on the ground. Immediately afterwards, a large group of ghouls with silver bodies appeared one after another. There are 60 in number. The face that was almost ulcerated, and the yellow and turbid eyes stared directly at Qin, and the depth of his eyes seemed to contain a desire for flesh and blood. Qin subconsciously took 2 steps back, the hairs all over his body stood up, a sense of fear rose up, and his heart was pounding. After a few seconds, he smiled to himself. If I can be frightened by my own summons, my role as a summoner is really in vain. Silver-skinned ghoul LV.432. Level. LV.9 cannot exceed summoner level. HP. 1800. Attributes. Strength 127, Agility 153, Intelligence 89. Skill 1. Fear Aura. Ghouls can have a frightening effect on surrounding creatures, causing continuous mental and attribute suppression, and can even make the opponent incapacitated. It has no effect on high-level creatures. Skill 2. Devouring Corpses. Ghouls have an unquenchable desire for meat. When they devour corpses, they recover 100 health points per second. After devouring a corpse, they can randomly increase 1 attribute. Skill 3. Tempered Bite. After the ghoul's whole body is made of steel, its ability to resist negative effects is greatly improved, the damage caused is increased by 50%, and it has a disabling effect. Introduction. These are a bunch of guys who eat people without spitting out their bones. The ghoul of the nightmare level copy should have this kind of data. With more than 2000 HP, there is exactly 1 epic skeleton monster with 1 sword. Just in time to practice with the epic skeleton monster. You two have a fight and let me see the effect. Qin waved his hand casually. As you command, my lord. The 5-meter-tall epic skeleton slowly stood up, and began to exert force on its hand bones, pulling out the purple striped sword from the ground and assuming a fighting posture. The yellowish and turbid eyes of the surrounding ghouls all stared at the epic skeleton monster. The next moment, the war broke out. The epic skeleton monster just raised its sword and swept through the air. Several silverback ghouls disintegrated in the air and then disappeared on the ground. -1823. -1871. -1903. The damage value keeps popping up, just enough to exceed the upper limit of blood volume, completing an instant kill with 1 hit. He did not call one side back. Unlike other summoners, the undead summoner does not need to cultivate his own summoned beast. He only needs to release his skills to get a summoned object with 100% loyalty. As long as the skill is improved, the summoned object will also be improved. Moreover, the summoned objects will also come with their own weapons and equipment, which can really save a lot of trouble. How should free attribute points be allocated? Attributes: Strength 13, Agility 15, Intelligence 21. Remaining free attribute points: 40. Strength, Agility, and Intelligence each include 3 different directions of development. Since I am a summoner, Intelligence is naturally my focus. Qin thought for a while and added 40 attribute points to Intelligence in one go. Intelligence 21 plus 40, Blood Volume plus 400, Mana Volume plus 400, Mana Volume recovery rate per second increased to 1. The summoning skills of the undead summoner are generally fixed monsters and are not linked to the summoner's attributes, so no matter which skill he adds, it will have no effect on the undead summons. However, the undead summoner also has some spell skills, which are strongly related. Next is the reward from the long-haired ghoul boss. The Ghoul skill book has been learned, and the remaining items are the Ghoul ring and the Manor key. Ghoul ring. Level restriction. LV.5. Quality. Silver level. Attribute bonus. Agility plus 7, Intelligence plus 3, HP plus 300. Skill 1. Climbing ability. The wearer can quickly climb vertical walls and ceilings, the climbing speed is increased to 200%, and the climbing sound is greatly reduced. Introduction. This is a blood-stained ring. Does crawling on the ground give you a bonus? Can't I stand still? Shinzi couldn't help but complain when he saw the weird properties of the Ghoul ring. However, the position of the ring equipment is currently empty, so just put it on first, and the bonus to the basic attributes is still very good. It is also possible to climb the wall to avoid danger. Manor key. Copy items. Function. The key that can open the gate of the manor. Introduction. Shish, don't let them find you. It turns out this is the key to the manor, and it looks very strange. Shinzi looked at the giant key the size of his palm and was speechless. He felt that there might be an ulterior motive for making the manor key so big. Next, there are the record-breaking rewards for the dungeon. Record-breaking gift pack. Open. Congratulations, you got the platinum level equipment optional treasure box. Please select a profession. A long list of professions such as warriors, rangers, and assassins have emerged. Shinzi searched for a long time before finally finding the undead summoner profession. After clicking, a magic book with a skull printed on the surface appears spinning. Book of the Dead. Restriction level. LV.10. Quality. Platinum level. Attribute bonus. Intelligence plus 30, Agility plus 10, Strength plus 10, Mana plus 2000. Reinforcement. 0. Forging. 0. Refining. 0. Skill 1. Quick spell casting. The chanting time of all necromancy spells is reduced to 1 second, and the mana consumption is reduced to 50%. When releasing necromancy spells, there is a chance that they will be released at a higher level. Skill 2. Flying. Consume 5 mana points per second to gain the ability to fly, with a maximum speed of 5 meters per second and a maximum altitude of 500 meters. Skill 3. Sacrifice. Sacrifice a friendly undead unit to turn all its health into your own shield, which lasts for 1 minute and consumes 50 mana points. Introduction. This is a cruel magic book. An artifact, an absolute artifact. Shinzi's eyes suddenly lit up when he saw this platinum level magic book. Leaving aside the exaggerated basic attribute bonus, the skill of rapid spell casting alone is enough to make countless mages crazy about it. Skill chanting is the most restrictive mechanism for mages. If it is reduced to 1 second, mages can do it infinitely. Interstitial bombing. This is equivalent to turning on the limiter. Shinzi did not dare to recycle the summoned object and resummon it before. It was precisely because of the 3-second singing time that he was afraid that without the blocking of the elite skeleton, he would die suddenly. Now the chanting time is shortened to 1 second, and there are other undead summons on top, so a perpetual motion-like fighting style can be achieved. The second flying skill is also a magical skill. It can temporarily leave the battlefield, which greatly improves safety in the air. It can also observe the battlefield situation on the ground. The third one is the life-saving ability, which is also very useful. At worst, after the sacrifices are completed, another batch will be summoned. If you don't do it, the undead will do it. The only pity is that the restricted level is level 10, so it cannot be equipped currently. We can only download the dungeon and reach level 10. The record-breaking gift package can actually unlock platinum level equipment. It smells so good. No one has cleared the nightmare level manor dungeon, and the first blood from the first pass is still there. Shinzi happily put the undead magician into the warehouse. Finally, there are SSS rating rewards. Whether to receive SSS rating rewards. Congratulations. Reward SSS level treasure chest, normal copy, experience 1000, equipment forging hammer 1. The higher the level, the more difficult it is to upgrade. For Shinzi, who is at level 9, 1000 points of experience can only increase his level by 5%. Open the SSS level treasure chest. As Shinzi finished speaking, the gorgeous treasure box slowly opened. While Shinzi was opening the treasure box in the temporary room, the outside world was already looking for him to go crazy. Toot toot. The man in a suit hung up the phone with a sullen expression. Manager, I can't contact Qinzi here. What happened to him? Lu Xiu, who was wearing black stockings, sat obediently in the manager's office, becoming more and more confused. She didn't know why the manager had to go to Qinzi. You don't need to know this. You just need to call Qinzi over. I want to talk to him about the debt. The manager glanced at Lu Xiu coldly, with a trace of disdain in his eyes. Arrearage, are you talking about the 990,000 loan from the Undead professional gift package? Lu Xiu was stunned and panicked for a moment. Yes, after our investigation, we found that he does not have the qualifications for a loan and cannot make a 20-year super long installment, so we need to notify him immediately to make early repayment. If he doesn't have the money, he can use something else instead. When the manager said the last sentence, he smiled sadly. How could this happen? What kind of loan qualification? I have never heard of it. The 20-year installment qualification was granted to him by me. The final person in charge should be me. If he himself has no major violations, he can enjoy the 20-year installment qualification. Lu Xiu explained anxiously. Are you teaching me how to do things? Or is it that you, a small salesperson, can change the opinions of the company's senior management? The manager said with a dark face. Is this, what does it mean? Lu Xiu's voice was trembling. What do you think? Lu Xiu didn't know how she walked out of the office. Her mind is very confused now. She knew about some of the company's behaviors, such as early repayment so that professionals could not pay back the money, in order to control them. The only way was to file for bankruptcy, but the future of the professionals would also be ruined. But what she never expected was that as soon as she had applied for an installment of 990,000 for Qinzi, the company would come after her. The purpose is very clear, which is to control Qinzi. Lu Xiu, you really deserve to die. After the first step is to apply for the installment loan, the second step is to persecute the company together. Now how to do? Lu Xiu lay on her desk and didn't speak for a long time. SSS level treasure chest, slowly open it. Golden light reflected on Qinzi's face. This is gold level equipment. A bit worse than the record-breaking treasure chest. Magic soft armor. Restriction level LV.5. Attribute restrictions 30 intelligence, 15 strength. Quality gold level. Basic attributes. Intelligence plus 10, Strength plus 5, HP plus 800. Skill 1. Magic Shield. Consume 100 magic points to get a magic shield with 2000 HP, which can resist attacks from any angle and increase the resistance to magic by 50%. Skill 2. Rock Solid. It consumes 50 magic points to enter a rock solid effect state, which can effectively resist physical negative effects such as knocking back, smashing, and heavy hits. Skill 3. Quick Recovery. It can only be used once in 24 hours, consumes 300 magic points, restores all blood, removes all negative effects, and is out of combat, teleporting to any location within 10 meters. Introduction. Soft armor symbolizing honor. A life-saving artifact. Especially the last skill, which is equivalent to a pseudo-resurrection skill, can not only restore blood volume, but also break away from the battle. Exiting the dungeon is also based on breaking away from the battle. If you can't get out of the battle, you will have no choice but to die. Qinzi replaced his previous novice plate armor and put on this magical soft armor. It's so comfortable. The plate armor is too hard, like it's covered with gypsum board, but the magic soft armor is like ordinary cotton clothing, very soft and slippery, but full of toughness. If he had a choice in the future, he would never wear plate armor. It was so tortuous. Immediately afterwards, skill information poured into his mind. Qinzi has mastered the release method, and the next step is practice makes perfect. There is one last reward, this time it is over. Equipment Forger. Tool. Function. Forging platinum level equipment or above, the basic attributes will be increased by 10%, and there is a probability of obtaining new abilities. The probability of success depends on the equipment level. It turns out to be a forging tool. Let's talk about it after equipping it with the Book of the Dead. Qinzi stretched himself greatly, and then determined his strategy. Skills are upgraded once every second, and can be upgraded 86,400 times in one day. In just one day, the ghoul summoning skill is almost as good as the skeleton summoning skill. He went to Lu Xiu's place again to acquire more undead skills in installments. After the resonance crystal comes into play, the pass rate of nightmare level copies will be greatly improved. The grave of genius. Then he must break this curse. Qinzi walked out of the temporary room. He had only used it for more than an hour. He couldn't waste the remaining time, so he went to the front desk lady to freeze time. Suddenly, an incredible voice sounded. Qinzi, are you at level 9 now? No, am I right? Are you at level 9? Best friend Lu Yang came to Qinzi's side, looking like he had seen a ghost. Hey, I'm awesome. Call me foster father and I'll take you. When Qinzi saw it was Lu Yang, a smile appeared on his face. He can still tell who is good to him and who is not good to him. Wait a minute, my mind is a little messed up. You said that the salesperson directly found 4 high-level professionals for you, and then those 4 didn't take action, and you swept the ordinary level dungeons instead. Why don't I believe it? Lu Yang looked at him in surprise. It is obvious to all how weak the undead summoner is in the early stage. What can that little skeleton do that falls apart when walking? Believe it or not, just tell me whether you want to upgrade. Father. Lu Yang looked around and knelt down directly in front of Qinzi, regardless of the crowd. No matter how unreasonable this matter is, their level is real, and it's not a problem to clear some simple level dungeons. These 2 brothers will rise from now on. Well, that's right. From now on, I will be responsible for killing monsters, and you will be responsible for calling 666 from behind. Qinzi nodded with satisfaction. The nightmare level dungeon can be cleared alone, but any behavior that increases the difficulty will bring bonuses to the final reward. Just like before, he brought 4 high-level professionals to level 1 and cleared the difficult level dungeon. The increase in experience was extremely exaggerated, otherwise he would never be able to reach level 9. In the same way, if he brings 4 oil bottles into the nightmare copy, the bonus will be very exaggerated. Hey, you underestimate me too much. Lu Yang shouted with some dissatisfaction. I have practiced martial arts for several years before. Just now in the simple level dungeon, I single-handedly defeated a ghoul. Even the high-level professional praised me for having a promising future. It's indeed quite strong. Qinzi nodded. Let's go purchase some equipment and supplies and get ready to continue downloading the dungeon. How are you doing now? I'm very good. Let me show you what technology is. Don't be surprised when the time comes. You might turn around and call me foster father. Lu Yang put his hands on his hips and laughed weirdly. The scene of Qinzi kneeling down and calling him foster father already appeared in his mind. At this time, the head teacher appeared from the side and looked at Qinzi with surprise. I didn't expect that you actually broke the record for difficult level dungeons and brought glory to our class and our school. Other students also came over one after another, some were envious and some were jealous. I'm afraid that my brother will have a hard time, and I'm even more afraid that my brother will drive a Land Rover. This mentality is a true reflection of their hearts. But he still managed to save face, so they all congratulated him. Congratulations, you have set a new difficulty level record. I'm so envious. As long as I keep this title, I won't have to worry about it for the rest of my life. I can make money even while I'm at it. Qinzi smiled and nodded in response. Thank you everyone. If you are good to me, I will be good to you, but if you want to harm me, then don't blame me. The school attaches great importance to your performance. Unfortunately, your profession as summoner of the undead makes them very worried. If you can pass the 2 Black Abyss dungeons normally, the school will give you various subsidies. The head teacher pulled Qinzi to speak. Road. Qinzi's eyes lit up and he asked, if it's a subsidy, can I make some requests? You still want to make demands? The head teacher was startled, then shook his head and said, all resource allocations are fixed. This is to prevent some people from taking advantage of their positions to get involved in resources. But don't worry, the school's subsidies cover all aspects, so you can rest assured that you have nothing to worry about. That's it. What if I clear the nightmare level dungeon? As soon as these words came out, the head teacher's eyelids suddenly jumped. If you can clear the nightmare copy, you can even ask the principal to make room for you to sit. Wait, you don't really want to? Then we can make a deal. Chinzi smiled slightly and walked towards the outside of the Black Abyss connection point. The head teacher was left watching him go away with a confused look on his face. Wow, the students standing behind instantly exploded. This Chinzi is too pretentious. Breaking the record of a difficult level dungeon is a big deal, and he even talks about the nightmare level dungeon, making it seem like he really knows how to go to the nightmare level dungeon. That is to say, if you get a bargain, act nice, and get a copy of Nightmare, is this something we can touch? He was specifically led by a professional to break the record, but that's why he's so awesome. Bah. Quote. Chinzi walked out of the Abyss connection point, took out his mobile phone and made a call. Hello. Lu Xiu's slightly panicked voice sounded. I want to buy something, vocational skills books and the like. Where are you now? I'm going to find you. Chinzi was a little surprised, thinking, is the service attitude so good? I'm just outside the Black Abyss Junction, with a friend of mine. Okay, I'll go over now. After hanging up the phone, Chinzi and Lu Yang casually ordered some cold skin to eat on the street. Within 10 minutes, the familiar beetle appeared in sight. Hi, here. Chinzi smiled and waved to the beetle. As a result, Lu Xiu hurriedly got out of the car, grabbed Chinzi and said, come on, let's get in the car and talk about it, it's a very important matter. Chinzi was stunned and looked back at his good friend, who had an expression of, I understand. Hurry up and leave Linhai City and go to Beijing City. I've bought your air ticket. It's outside the Li family's influence there. They won't ask you for money. You go and settle down first, and I'll take care of the work later. If it's something, I'll come over and find you. Lu Xiu said in a hurry, and took out a ticket and stuffed it into Chinzi's hand. No, what are you following? Chinzi couldn't help it when he saw the other party looking like he was going to elope with him. I just want to buy something, but you want me to go to another city. Lu Xiu stopped, sighed deeply, and then told him that the company wanted him to repay the loan in advance. If you pay it back in advance, just pay it back in advance. Isn't there still 1 month left? Chinzi was very surprised. Ah, you won't be able to run away then, the company will make you do some things you can't accept. If you can't run away, you can't run away. It's too outrageous for you to ask me to change cities directly. I just want to buy some skill books and daily necessities. You don't still want to pay in installments, do you? Yes, how do you know? Lu Xiu. At Chinzi's insistence, Lu Xiu took back the ticket. Her mind was confused, and the solution she had racked her brains to come up with was rejected by the other party. The arms cannot twist the thighs. She didn't think Chinzi could escape the fate of being controlled by the company. Did I not express the seriousness of the matter? As she drove the beetle, she began to doubt herself. At Li's exchange, professionals kept coming in and out. Their eyes were filled with numbness and confusion. After almost 80% of the people left, they looked back at this magnificent building, clenching their fists and digging their nails into their flesh. They vowed in their hearts that as long as they repaid the money, they would never take out an installment loan again. This thing is too harmful. It is very convenient and refreshing to use. But when the loan cannot be repaid, they keep borrowing money to repay it, and the interest keeps piling up. The loan is used to support the loan. In addition, professionals have to spend money. When they look back, they find that they already owe hundreds of thousands. At this time, people from the exchange company will come to your door and tell you that you lack qualifications, need to tighten the loan, and need to pay back the money immediately. If you still can't make it, then go work for an exchange company to pay back the money. The profits you'll get are extremely low, at least 3 or 4 times lower than the market. The equipment acquired in the dungeon is purchased at 1/3 of the price. The company even maintains dedicated calculators, and through precise data calculations, these professionals will always live on the line of food and clothing, becoming ruthless machines working for the company. This world respects strength. The exchange company is backed by the super aristocratic family, the Li family, and it is difficult for even officials to touch them. Now, Chinzi has broken the record of ordinary level Black Abyss dungeon. The exchange company discovered his potential and quickly tightened the noose in its hands. Look, what am I saying? As long as the company discovers that you have potential, it will definitely use the debt to control you. As long as there is a little bit of value in you, they will squeeze it out. This is the company's behavior. Liu Yong said through gritted teeth and clenched his fists. Yes, that's why I asked you to leave this city quickly. As long as you are out of Li's control, you can continue to be a professional, and I can just find a job. Company sales can be done anywhere. Lu Xiu also agreed. It doesn't matter, you don't have to worry about me. Qinzi put his hands behind his head and lay comfortably on the cushion. Ah, it doesn't matter, brother, the rest of your life will be ruined. Now that the sheep is in the tiger's mouth, you still go to the exchange. The beetle parked outside the exchange, and Qinzi jumped out of the car. Why shouldn't you work hard when plucking wool? He has already tested the head teacher before. As long as he can clear the nightmare level copy, the principal will move his butt and let him sit. Although it may be an exaggerated description, it also illustrates the gold content of nightmare copies from the side. Strength is respected, and the same applies to him. He will use his fists to forcefully break through this cage built from top to bottom. And he knows that the company is very shameless. Whether it's an assassin worth 100,000 yuan or a summoner of the undead worth 990,000 yuan, they have a way of making it impossible for you to leave, and they will never let you out of the trap. This is a strong buy and sell for the future of professionals. Classmate Qinzi, what do you want to buy? Lu Xiu caught up from behind and asked. What's the most expensive thing here? Lu Xiu. Liu Yong, why does this scene seem familiar? The most expensive one is probably the resurrection badge, which can be resurrected once from a full dungeon. Each dungeon can only be used once, and costs 10 million. The second most expensive one is the forced escape from the scroll, which allows you to escape during combat, and costs 510,000. Oh, then give me a resurrection badge. Qinzi waved his hand, very coolly. The resurrection badge is equivalent to a second life, which is very important to prevent you from suddenly dying in the Nightmare Black Abyss dungeon. When Lu Xiu heard 10 million, she was so frightened that she burped. Did you break the pot? Don't do it. You are still young and have a bright future. Don't buy any more. Lu Xiu begged bitterly. She felt very painful in her heart when she saw Qinzi giving up on himself. She scolded herself in her mind. What had she done to a good child? Who would have thought that Qinzi's next words would be like a thorn piercing her heart? Don't you want to meet the KPI? 10 million should be a lot for your commission. Qinzi asked curiously. He really wanted to give some benefits to the people around him. Lu Xiu held her chest and backed away, looking embarrassed and speechless. For a moment, she really wanted to die to apologize. At this time, a frivolous voice suddenly sounded next to him. Oh, this must be Qinzi. Lu Xiu, you did a great job. You actually brought this little brother here. I will give you double the year-end bonus this time. Qinzi turned around and saw a man in a suit. His hair was combed back with gel. He looked like an elite. However, the tone he spoke had a condescending tone. Manager, Qinzi, it's not what you think. Lu Xiu panicked and wanted to explain, but found that it didn't make sense at all. What's wrong? What's the matter? Qinzi frowned and looked at the man. If he guessed correctly, this should be the manager. My name is Lu Guanghua. I learned that little brother Qinzi successfully refreshed the dungeon record. I especially wanted to thank you, so I notified Lu Xiu. Now I finally see you, and you are indeed a talented person. Lu Guanghua said with a smile on his face, and at the same time stretched out his hand. His right hand. The professionals passing by saw this scene and snorted coldly. What manager Lu is best at is concealing a secret in his smile. Many of them were confused by this smile at first, but after 2 or 3 times, they found themselves stuck in it and unable to get out. Qinzi looked at him in surprise, and then asked, Are you here to compete with Lu Xiu for customers? Are you ashamed to be a dignified manager? As soon as these words came out, the professionals around him laughed. Many people looked at him for the first time. This person is interesting. Lu Guanghua retracted his right hand nonchalantly, lowered his head to adjust his sleeves, and a stern look flashed in his eyes. Brother Qinzi, let me get down to business. You now have an installment payment of 990,000. Since your qualifications have been revoked, you must repay the money this month, otherwise we will go through legal procedures, and you can no longer enter the Black Abyss dungeon. Of course, we won't force people to death, so we gave you a second option. Join our young master's team and follow his orders. He is now level 10. As long as he improves 5 levels, the debt can be written off. Quote. Chin-Zi narrowed his eyes slightly. It was because the drunkard was not interested in drinking. The professionals who were watching around were shocked. This can almost be regarded as the most dangerous team-up. Many people know that the young master of the Li family is a playboy who doesn't treat ordinary people as human beings at all. Anyone sent in will be scolded by him. Even if someone dies in the dungeon, it is a common thing. After hearing this, Lu Xiu's pupils shrank slightly and she stretched out her hand to grab Chin-Zi's clothes. Chin-Zi said lightly, I refuse. Haha, then you should be prepared to pay back the money in 1 month. It is possible to put together 1 million. It should not be difficult for an orphan, haha. Manager Lu was extremely sarcastic, and even made Chin-Zi his life experience was directly stated. Who told you that I have to pay back the money? Lu Guanghua. What's the meaning? Lu Guanghua frowned, and many thoughts suddenly came to his mind. It didn't take long for him to figure it out. Chin-Zi has already broken the ordinary level copy of Black Abyss. Even if he is taken by others, the record-breaking gift package alone can bring him a lot of income, even far more than 1 million. Presumably Chin-Zi felt that he could afford it and was determined to win. A sinister smile appeared at the corner of Lu Guanghua's mouth. Naive, so naive. The installment contract has stated that when the debt is unable to be repaid, all equipment and props obtained can only be sold to the exchange company, and the price will be much lower than the market price. Paying back debts is a matter of course. Since you are so confident, I won't disturb your shopping. We are a legitimate company, and there is no such thing as bullying. After Lu Guanghua figured it out, he walked away with a smile. I'm afraid it's impossible to leave Linhai City now. Lu Xiu shook her head repeatedly. The professionals around him were talking a lot and looked at Chin-Zi from time to time. There was excitement, confusion, and disbelief. How many arms do you have that can twist the company's thigh? But Chin-Zi's next behavior really surprised them. Bring me the 10 million resurrection badges. Chin-Zi said lightly. No, are you serious? Lu Xiu was shocked. I have to prepare for the next dungeon. Money is something external to me, but I only have 1 life, and it can also increase your performance, so why not? Chin-Zi shrugged with a smile. Lu Xiu, so convincing. Lu Xiu couldn't defeat Chin-Zi, so she had to take out a safe box through the channel, which contained a resurrection badge. When she handed it to Chin-Zi, she was still hesitant. Do you really want to buy it? Of course, remember to spread it over 20 years. Ah, aren't you also doing it for performance? You can get a lot of commission even with 10 million. Chin-Zi shrugged. I. Lu Xiu's eyes suddenly widened and she took a step back. This behavior immediately caused an uproar among the people around him. He almost pushed himself into the pit. Haha, you think you didn't die quickly enough. Buy it, let him buy it. Lu Guanghua stood in the background and looked at Chin-Zi, who was under surveillance, with a sneer. In his eyes, the record breaker is still worth 10 million. 10 million resurrection badges, spread over 20 years. Lu Xiu's head was buzzing as she completed the installment procedures. Where is the skill book of the undead summoner? Let me take a look. Chin-Zi continued to wander around the exchange, his eyes constantly scanning the commodities. It's here. You are now at level 9. There are 3 skills in total that you can learn, including 2 auxiliary skill books and 1 summoning skill book. Which one do you think you need? I want them all. Lu Xiu, now you don't even ask about the price, right? Sure enough, the jar broke. To be honest, every time Chin-Zi buys a product, she is the one who feels the most uncomfortable and entangled. Soon, 3 skill books were placed in front of Chin-Zi. Skeleton Archer Summoning Meditation Evil Aura. Skeleton Archer Summoning Technique. Learn level 55.5, chant for 3 seconds, summon a skeleton monster holding a bow and arrow to fight for you, lasts for 1 day, consumes 100 mana points. Chin-Zi's eyes suddenly lit up when he saw this skill book. He currently lacks long-range output, and the skeleton archer just makes up for it. The chance of clearing the nightmare dungeon has been greatly increased. He immediately opened the skill panel to check and found that the silver-skinned ghoul had been upgraded 2 levels in a row. Silver-skinned ghoul right pointing arrow Moonlight ghoul. Moonlight ghoul right pointing arrow Shadow ghoul. Level LV 237. In terms of the number of promotions, it is already equivalent to the epic skeleton monster. Qinzi immediately took it off the upgrade position, then hung up the skeleton archer summoning technique and started to upgrade it every second. At the same time, the B-level talent resonance crystal can finally be activated and used. All 3 skills are put into the resonance crystal, and the other skills are upgraded and will also share levels. Meditation. A common skill for mages, sitting cross-legged on the ground can restore mana more quickly, and can restore 100 mana points in 1 minute. Evil Halo. The basic skill of the undead. Friends within the aura will increase their speed by 10%, and their resistance to negative effects will increase by 10%. The area of effect of the aura is within a circle with a diameter of 10 meters. The latter 2 are both good skills. Meditation can prevent you from running out of mana, and the evil aura is a collective buff. After the level is improved, the effect is still worth looking forward to. Moreover, they have begun to improve under the effect of resonance crystal. LV.1 right pointing arrow LV.2. LV.2 right pointing arrow LV.3. It goes on forever, never stops. 1 skill book is 1.5 million, 3 books is 4.5 million, that, you. Lu Xiu no longer knew what to say. Buy. Qinzi nodded. These 3 skills must be purchased. Let's get another suit. My newbie equipment also needs to be changed. A set of level 5 silver equipment costs 12 million. Silver level equipment, that's looking down on me. Gold level equipment, give it to me. Ah, gold level equipment. Lu Xiu opened her mouth wide and looked at Qinzi, who was completely crazy. I don't know what to say anymore. The professionals around him also gave Qinzi a thumbs up. A true warrior. Even Lu Guanghua in the background couldn't sit still. All the items with a special code of nearly 40 to 50 million were sold out. In the end, even if Qinzi was sold, he might not be able to get his money back. Now that things have come to this, he can only endure it any longer. Soon, a set of gold level equipment was brought up, with a golden light and a value of about 30 million. Take back your staff and clothes, I have them. I took the rest. Bibo cloak, Bibo boots, Bibo necklace. They are all level 5 gold equipment and are common to mages. It is indeed gold level equipment. It is comfortable to wear and refreshing. After Qinzi put on the equipment, he admired it in novelty. After this wave of operations, Qinzi's original 1 million seemed to be nothing. His scandalous act of borrowing money to buy equipment and skill books, coupled with his title as the record breaker for ordinary level copies, immediately spread throughout the internet, causing widespread discussion. After all, everyone has known that Li's company has not been a good person for a long time. Qinzi's behavior is almost like jumping into the fire pit. This kind of death-seeking behavior is what Li's company wants to see most. Until a piece of news came, like a bombshell. Qinzi wants to enter the nightmare level dungeon. Bibo cloak. Level restriction. LV.5. Attribute limit. 53 points of intelligence. Quality. Gold level. Basic attributes. Intelligence plus 30, Strength plus 10, HP plus 1000. Skill 1. Bywave healing light. Consumes 300 mana points and releases a repellent healing light wave. The first unit heals 500 health points. It bounces 7 times, with a 20% decrease each time. Skill 2. Stillness recovery. When stationary, health is restored at 5 points per second. The Bibo necklace has basic attribute bonuses, intelligence plus 20, agility plus 20, and comes with a skill that can release a light of punishment, causing 300 fixed damage to the enemy. Bibo boots have basic attribute bonuses, agility plus 25, intelligence plus 15, and come with skills that can form a wave of water in front of the caster, greatly increasing the speed of walking forward. Qinzi tried it and it felt like stepping on a conveyor belt. It requires certain skills, otherwise you will fall. Is there anything else you want to buy? Lu Xiu's voice was trembling. Well, let's buy some daily necessities. It's too troublesome to have a barbecue. Why not make a simple hot pot, bring some vegetables and meat, and just boil it in and eat it? Lu Xiu, you don't want to be in the copy. That's right, you can easily get bored if you stay in the dungeon for several hours at a time, so buy more food. Recliners, drinks, simple hot pot, etc. were all loaded into Chin Zi's warehouse. It cost more than 10,000. And I like to mention the 20-year installment plan. After a big purchase, Chin Zi didn't spend a penny, but he brought back a lot of things. Lu Guanghua and other professionals even had an illusion. It seems that the big enemy is not Chin Zi, but the company. However, are there too many examples of people who spend money with ease but cry in despair when they pay back the money? Seeing Chin Zi leave, Lu Guanghua immediately walked out and said, "Your repayment date is the 1st of next month, including all the items you purchased today. I hope you can give us an explanation then." "Certainly. Everything is ready and you can finally enter the nightmare copy." Chin Zi was not in a hurry, but went home to take a nap first. The skill upgrade system per second will first increase the level of Archer Skeleton Summoning Technique before entering the nightmare copy. In this way, it is safer. During this period, he checked out almost all the guides about the Manor Dungeon on the internet. He didn't notice some of the details and clues. For example, there was actually a children's painting hidden under the long-haired ghoul boss, with a map of the manor on it. This time you enter the nightmare copy, you need to pay attention to it. And there seems to be a story behind the manor copy. On the other side, Lu Xiu was sitting on her bed. She felt very uncomfortable when she looked at the extra 100,000 yuan in commission in her account. When did I become so miserable? Every time Chin Zi bought something, it was a heavy blow to her heart. All this money was obtained from human blood steamed buns. She looked at the money and couldn't help but murmur, "I really deserve to die." That night, Chin Zi's name spread throughout Linhai City. Chin Zi was all on the front pages of major media websites. #surprise, the record breaker for ordinary level copies actually borrowed nearly 50 million #. #advanced consumption, how to ruin a person, Chin Zi is the best example #. People also made a fuss about this post. The Heavenly Chosen opening ended up being forced into a Heavenly Collapse opening by Chin Zi. That was a record-breaking title. It was something that many people dreamed of. They could just make money while lying down. But Chin Zi didn't have to buy so many things. Quote, "Indeed, if I had the record-breaking title, I would never be able to lie down at home." Upstairs, do you think everyone is as unambitious as you? Yes, it is impossible for such a person to win the title of record-breaking, and it is even less possible for such a person to lie flat. Haha, when you see the record-breaking title, you want to kneel down and lick it, and you are still talking about me here. Chin Zi is finished for the rest of his life. Li's company is recognized as a trap. This is equivalent to handing a knife to others. Quote. Chin Zi woke up and stretched out comfortably. He called and asked Lu Xiu to drive over to pick him up. After spending so much money, it should be no problem to pick up and drop off customers. Soon, Lu Xiu drove her beetle to the door and looked at Chin Zi with a complicated face. "Let's go to the Abyss Connection." Chin Zi took a look at his skills in the car and found that the Archer Skeleton had been upgraded. Archer Skeleton Summoning Technique, right pointing arrow, Fire Archer Skeleton Summoning Technique. Fire Archer Skeleton Summoning Technique, right pointing arrow, Powerful Archer Skeleton Summoning Technique. Powerful Archer Skeleton Summoning Technique, right pointing arrow, Destroying Archer Skeleton Summoning Technique. Level LV.3241. At this level, you really feel safe. The other two skills have also been upgraded one after another. Meditation right pointing arrow, Great Meditation Technique. Great Meditation Technique, right pointing arrow, Incantation Technique. Spell right pointing arrow, Big Spell. Great Mantra. Put your hands together and recite the undead incantation in your mouth, which can communicate the intention of death. The undead within a range of 10 meters will continue to recover blood, 300 points per second, and non-undead units will continue to lose blood, 300 points per second, and produce fear. Negative effect, consumes 20 mana points per second. Evil Halo, right pointing arrow, Great Evil Halo, right pointing arrow, Undead Cemetery, right pointing arrow, Giant Undead Cemetery. Giant Undead Cemetery. Consumes 1000 mana points to temporarily change the surrounding environment. The undead units occupy the absolute home field. The speed is plus 100%, the attack frequency is plus 100%, and a steady stream of usable corpses is obtained, causing a large area. The fear effect. Another trump card. A smile appeared on Qinzi's face. Here we are. Lu Xiu parked the beetle on the street and looked at Qinzi with complex eyes. Are you sure you want to go to the nightmare instance? Lu Yang's right eyelid twitched and he looked at Qinzi with horror on his face. Yes, I am confident that I can pass the nightmare copy. Stop joking, there is no difference between doing this and sending yourself to death. Believe me, an ordinary level copy can bring me to level 9. Don't you want to think about what's going on inside? You mean? Lu Yong suddenly opened his eyes wide and looked at him in disbelief. Yes, the so-called high-level and low-level professionals did not take action. Instead, they became my experience bonus. Qinzi nodded, confirming his idea. This is also unbelievable. Whether you come with me or not, I will tell you as we are good brothers. Lu Yong hesitated. This was a nightmare-level dungeon. If he could pass it, he might skyrocket. And Qinzi's idea is also very simple. Having one more soy sauce player will not only give a reward bonus, but also an additional reward for completing the level. Why not do it? Those who follow me will prosper, and those who go against me will perish. I want everyone to know that as long as you follow me, you will have meat to eat. But if you go against me, then I'm sorry. These people will be removed from the world. Qinzi said lightly, revealing his power in his words, confidence. Lu Yong looked at him blankly, moved by this confidence. Just fight hard, I believe in you. Take me through the level. Father, whether to choose the nightmare level Black Abyss dungeon, this dungeon is extremely difficult, all monsters are strengthened 3 to 5 times, it is extremely dangerous, please choose carefully. Currently in 2-person status. Whether, Lu Yong, foster father, come on. Qinzi, 1, countdown to 10 seconds, 10, 9, 8. As the words fell, Qinzi's eyes became distorted. Then disappeared. The moonlight spread on the ground, and the surrounding weeds rustled. Everything seemed quiet and strange. Along with the twisting of the space, Qinzi's arrival instantly broke the silence. The strange screams of ghouls rang out from the surrounding grass, followed by the sound of crawling quickly in the grass. Aha, the smell around me is so scary. The grass is full of ghouls. Lu Yong looked around, feeling extremely panicked. It would be difficult for her to face even one ghoul, so many ghouls would eat him up to nothing. I know you are in a hurry, but don't worry yet. Qinzi narrowed his eyes slightly and then raised the staff in his hand. Come out, my skeleton. Swish, swish, 5 circular vortices immediately appeared around him. The epic skeleton lowered its head and held a purple sword, rising slowly. Purple fire lit up in the empty eye sockets. Lu Yong. Are you telling me this is a skeleton monster? The nightmare level manner is more realistic. The wind that came was full of malice. Qinzi looked around with vigilance. The cold air poured in from his neck. There seemed to be some kind of terrifying thing here. The manor, hidden deep in the night, stood staring at him from a distance. The next second, the surrounding grass began to shake, and a ghoul emerged from it. Qinzi was mentally prepared, but he still couldn't help but feel suffocated when he saw them. These ghouls are actually covered with twisted lines, resembling the graffiti of a mentally ill person. Nightmare Ghoul. Common Nightmare Monster. HP, 5300. Level, LV.10. Attributes, Strength 273 points, Agility 298 points, Intelligence 73 points. Skill 1. Madness. When a nightmare ghoul sees a professional, he can instantly enter a state of madness, with his speed increased to 300% and his attack speed increased to 300%. There is a chance that he will become indiscriminate between friend and foe and devour enemies or allies to increase his madness and strengthen his attributes. Skill 2. Pain. The nightmare ghoul is always in pain, and is committed to spreading this pain to others. Whenever he is attacked, he will apply pain buff, and continue to lose blood in endless pain, 10 points per second, lasting for 1 minute. Introduction. They were full of resentment when they were alive, and they still don't let it go after death. Father, have you seen the patterns on these ghouls? It feels like a nightmare. Lu Yong was trembling all over and pushed towards Qinzi. Chushi, I haven't even started fighting yet, and I'm so scared. I also have to be qualified to fight with others. I'm just a second-level transparent person. Lu Yong wanted to cry but had no tears. This is just the beginning of the nightmare copy. The monsters will become more perverted in the future. Qin shook his head slightly. 5 purple skeleton figures stood around, giving a sense of security. Purple flames ignited in the black skull's eye sockets. They were not afraid of these nightmare ghouls at all, so they raised their swords and attacked. The nightmare ghoul was indeed crazy. When it jumped into the air, its 4 claws were scratching like a convulsion, and you could almost see its afterimage. It should have an attack speed of 5 claws per second. Unfortunately, what greeted it was a purple heavy sword, and the sharp blade hit it right in the face. Swish. One move and he will be killed directly. Minus 5,320. Congratulations, you successfully killed a nightmare ghoul and gained experience, 80 points. Holy crap, am I right? One sword can cause more than 5,000 damage. I remember that as a level 10 professional, the maximum damage I could do was 500 and I would die. Your skeleton has increased 10 times. And there are 5 more. What's your situation? Lu Yong looked like he had seen a ghost. It's just that the skeleton happens to have the killing skill, so one sword clears the blood. Normally, 2,000 blood is enough. Qin explained with a smile. It feels pretty good to have a best friend beside you to spawn monsters. If you come in alone, you will feel a little gloomier. These 5 skeleton monsters alone are not enough to kill these ghouls. Can you still summon? Come out, my archer skeleton. Qin raised the staff in his hand, and a dark purple pentagram appeared spinning under his feet. A hand bone suddenly stretched out from the earth, scaring Lu Yong into screaming. Then the entire skeleton body crawled out, carrying a simple black bow. Lu Yong, you look so strong, foster father, there's something wrong with your skeleton. The archer skeleton is much smaller than the melee skeleton, with a height of about 1.8 meters, and the bones are also thinner. A total of 12 summoned can be formed into a team. Destroy archer skeleton. Level LV.9 cannot surpass the summoner. HP 7,300. Basic attributes: Strength 673, Agility 1132, Intelligence 798. Skill 1. Killing arrows. The death energy operates in a special way and is attached to the arrows. After causing a penetrating blow to the enemy, it can release a death energy storm with a radius of 2 meters, swallowing the enemy in it, causing 300 damage per second. Completely after being destroyed, it will devour the corpse. Skill 2. Infinite arrows. The arrows used to destroy the archer skeleton monster are composed of death energy. You can make an arrow by consuming 1 point, which cannot be used by others. After successfully shooting the enemy, it will cause negative emotions such as numbness, panic, and pain. Skill 3. Arrow Rain. Release 30 arrows at one time, which can hit the enemy in a wide range and have the effects of all ordinary skills. You can also shoot continuously at the same target, but the damage of the arrows will continue to decrease. Introduction. Professional archer with super high accuracy. Now in a fighting state, they naturally know what to do. They took off the big bows from their backs one after another, and then stretched the bow strings towards the sky. Black flames suddenly appeared at the front of the arrows, and then they were released with a whoosh. The arrow made a parabola in the air, and then accurately hit the back of a ghoul. Buzz. The death energy exploded and immediately spun into a black energy ball. It swallowed up several nightmare ghouls in an instant. Minus 1,821. Minus 300. Minus 300. In addition to the previous higher damage value, the remaining 300 has emerged in a large area. Moreover, the movement of the nightmare ghoul inside was obviously much slower. The purple skeleton carried a big sword and immediately stepped forward to hit him. Minus 2,389. Congratulations, you killed a nightmare ghoul and gained experience, 83. The nightmare skeletons kept appearing like cockroaches, showing no signs of stopping. The purple skeletons and archer skeletons work together perfectly, and they can kill no matter how many come. Lu Yong stared blankly at the battle in front of him, already convinced in his heart. Qin didn't lie to him, it was really possible to clear the nightmare copy. It seems like it's going to be another protracted battle. Let's take a rest first. Qin took out the lounge chair and the simple hot pot table. Soon, the aroma of hot pot filled the air. Lu Yong. Are you eating hot pot in the nightmare copy? He only felt that his outlook on life was completely ruined. Stop talking nonsense. Do you want to come and cook the mutton on a skewer? Yes, yes, foster father, just lie down and I will take care of this little thing. The fighting was going on outside. Inside, Qinzi and Liu Yang were enjoying their meals. In the exchange company, a man was lying on the ground shivering. The young master of the partial branch of the Li family was stepping on the man's back. The Li family has the final say in Linhai City. Who are you? You dare to take my Li Yuhao's equipment? The man said tremblingly. Master Li, please do me a favor. I finally produced a high-quality piece of equipment, and I just want to sell it at a good price. My son is seriously ill now, and I'm still waiting for money. It's none of my business. If I like that piece of equipment, I have to spit it out. Li Yuhao kicked the man in the stomach violently, and the latter flew several meters away. Lu Guangwu walked in at this time, glanced at the man lying on the ground, and then said respectfully, that man named Qinzi refuses to form a team with you. Qinzi, that Qinzi. Li Yuhao frowned slightly. Just when Lu Guangwu was about to remind him, Li Yuhao's eyes suddenly lit up. Are you talking about that good-looking man? Ah, Lu Guangwu was stunned. He thought about the rumors about Mr. Li, that men and women were not taboo, and he couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart. Then, he immediately nodded in affirmation. Yes, that's the person. Then what are you waiting for? Bring it to me. If he refuses, just refuse. Can we let him go? Li Yuhao's face was full of surprise, with an expression like, you are asking me about this kind of thing. Understand, his loan this time is nearly 50 million. After my investigation, he will never be able to repay it. I will bring him to you by the end of the month at the latest. Lu Guangwu wiped the sweat from his forehead and hurriedly explained. At the end of the month. Do you think I will wait so long? Bring it to me tomorrow. If you can't do it, get out of here right away. Li Yuhao said very arrogantly. Yes, yes. Lu Guangwu nodded repeatedly. He was about to turn around and exit when an emergency notification appeared. Announcement: Professional Qinzi chooses to challenge the nightmare level Black Abyss dungeon. What? He actually? Lu Guangwu raised his head in shock. He suddenly understood Qinzi's previous intention. As long as he could pass the nightmare level copy, it would definitely shock the top officials and give him a life insurance policy. If it fails, there is no need to repay the debt. In Linhai City's awakening one middle school, countless students learned about Qinzi's deeds. The original feeling of envy disappeared in a hurry. Instead, there was confusion and schadenfreude. Qinzi, is he crazy? He bought so many things in installments at one time, until the exchange company threatened him with the arrears and even pointed the gun at him. Buying 10 million resurrection badges in installments is not enough. He even bought a set of gold-level equipment. I think he really doesn't understand the horrors of the company. Tisk, 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 once you talk about it, things are getting more and more interesting. It's a shame. I've never experienced a shopping spree in my life. The 990,000 Undead career change gift package suddenly opened up his brain circuit and he can't take it back. Quote. The head teacher's expression changed again and again, and finally he sighed deeply. He actually wanted to help Qinzi, and he could also help him apply for resources. But there is nothing the school can do to borrow 40 to 50 million yuan at once, let alone help him pay off the debt. Li's company is an owner who does not suffer losses. It is backed by the main family of the central district. It dominates the small place of Linhai City and has formed a system that systematically squeezes ordinary professionals. Moreover, after detailed research by the Ministry of Justice, it is very difficult for the local government to eradicate this force. Of course, this was Qinzi's own suicide attempt. Go ahead to dangers. At this time, an announcement sounded, like a heavy hammer hitting everyone's heart. Announcement: Qinzi's team begins to challenge the nightmare copy, everyone is informed. Head teacher. A group of students. No, what is going on? A flash of lightning flashed in their minds, seemingly connecting everything at once. Class teacher. Qinzi, this kid, planned to enter the nightmare dungeon from the beginning. He even showed his name and openly provoked and ridiculed Li's company. As long as he can pass the nightmare Black Abyss dungeon, everything will change. 40 to 50 million is nothing. This person needs to be won over by all forces. Wait, no. Chin Zi's team. The head teacher was excited and quickly checked the composition of the team, and then the corners of his mouth twitched one after another. Chin Zi is at the 9th level, and Lu Yong is at the 2nd level. These two people are so brave. Since the Manor Black Abyss dungeon is a first-level dungeon, only professionals within level 10 can enter. Due to the high difficulty of the dungeon, and the fact that professionals have not yet mastered their skills and attributes, the Manor Black Abyss dungeon is more difficult than a high-level nightmare dungeon. If it is difficult, many big families choose to skip this dungeon and just level up directly. Over time, the Manor Nightmare copy became a legend. No one dares to challenge. No matter how you look at it, these two people, Chin Zi, look like they are delivering food. In the gloomy manor, the screams of nightmare ghouls are endless. The epic skeleton holds a purple patterned sword and fights on the front line. The sword was swung deftly in the air. Face the nightmare ghoul that jumps out from the sky. They turned the big sword in their hands and then stabbed it into the ground. The destructive properties of the big sword to the body were fully demonstrated at this moment. -2370. The nightmare ghoul's health bar was half empty, but it was still struggling. Then, an arrow dropped from the sky and hit the back of his head. Black energy rolled out wildly, swallowing it up. -1789. -300. -300. Fortunately, no teammates were harmed, otherwise the epic skeleton would also have lost blood. Congratulations, you successfully killed a nightmare ghoul and gained experience, 80. There are countless nightmare ghouls. Experience has managed to rise by 2/3. Lu Yong, who was making soy sauce next to him, had been upgraded 2 levels in a row, from level 2 to level 4. The upgrade was so fast, it was like a dream. I never thought that monsters could be killed like this. Lu Yong sighed as he picked up a piece of hot pot meat and stuffed it into his mouth. Fragrant. The yin qi in this place is really heavy. Even when I was covered with a blanket, I felt the yin qi seeping into my clothes. I also always felt that something was watching us and secretly controlling everything. What do you think? Chin Zi was covering himself with a blanket and holding hot coffee. Yes, I feel the same way. I have studied the guide carefully before. The entire manor copy is divided into 2 stages. The first one is outside the manor. After killing the ghoul boss, you can get the manor key. Then enter the manor and continue to clear the level. But after careful comparison and analysis, I found that all professionals who enter the manor will be attacked by the boss of the manor in anger, accompanied by the roar of getting out. Lu Yong put his hand on his chin and began to analyze. Well, I've also discovered this. The monsters outside the manor and the monsters inside the manor are not from the same camp. They don't deal with each other. Chin Zi nodded. Some attentive netizens have done analysis before. At this time, a whipping sound suddenly came from the distance. The nightmare ghoul immediately roared and retreated back. Let's go, let's kill them. I'll pack my things. After Lu Yong cleaned up the scene, they immediately moved towards the manor. Now that you have obtained the key to the manor, you will be right to push the map. As it progressed, new monsters appeared again in the surrounding grass. It looks like a beetle, with a body length of about 1 meter. The moonlight shines on them, reflecting silver spots. But those heads with hair. Hiss. Lu Yong took a breath, and the heads growing on the beetle's neck made his heart feel cold. These bugs actually have human heads on their necks. Chin Zi frowned and said nothing. These human-headed beetles are not mentioned in the guide. The dungeon guide is only for the difficulty level, no one knows what it will be like at the nightmare level. Beetle Wraith. Common nightmare monster. Level. LV.10. HP. 7300. Attributes. Strength 432, Agility 397, Intelligence 129. Skill 1. Take off. The beetle wraith opens its insect wings behind it and can fly into the air at a slow speed. It will scatter scale powder during the flight, causing chaos, pain and other negative effects. Skill 2. Vitality. The grudge beetle has extremely strong vitality. Even if its head is separated, it will continue to live. When the blood volume drops to 0 points, it can remain active for 30 minutes. If someone applies treatment to restore the blood volume, the grudge beetle can recover. Action status. Introduction. They were once one person, until one day. My mother, can I still live after death? Why do I feel they are scarier than ghouls? Lu Yong couldn't help but shrink back. The consequences of being caught by these resentful spirit beetles would be disastrous. I think these vengeful beetles should be a simple punishment. Look at their skills, they don't have any means of attack. There is something that just wants them to suffer. But this is none of our business. Kill. The beetle wraith has extremely high attributes, even stronger than the nightmare ghoul. But their fighting power and fighting will are simply terrifyingly weak. After they saw the sharp purple skeleton, their 8 insect legs began to tremble, their white eyes without pupils appeared panicked, and then they turned their heads left and right in an attempt to escape the scene. Halfway through their escape, they stopped, as if something terrifying was blocking and threatening them. Does this mean driving the beetle ghosts towards me and killing them wantonly? Interesting. There's something about this nightmare copy. Naturally, you cannot let go of the experience you have gained. The epic skeleton monster stood still and escorted the surroundings. The destroying archer skeleton monster took full advantage of its long-range advantage and continuously shot arrows, accurately hitting the bodies of these beetle vengeful spirits. Death energy burst out, annihilating their bodies. -1728. -300. -300. -1794. -300. -300. Rounds of arrow rain poured down from the sky, and out of the 30 arrows, 20 were accurately inserted into the body of the grudge beetle. Arrows burning with black flames easily broke through their shells. Amidst the overwhelming arrows, the beetle spirit did not attack. Instead, it screamed in pain and crawled around on the ground. Some seemed to be in so much pain that they spread their insect wings on their backs, and then staggered up and flew up. They didn't have the slightest will to attack, and instead flew around in the sky to dodge. Why do I feel like their cries are like indistinct human voices? You seem to be talking about something. Lu Yong shrank his neck. This was the first time he had seen this kind of monster that only ran away after being beaten. It's hard to imagine that this kind of monster actually comes from the nightmare copy. It's simply a benefit for gaining experience. Even human voices, they are still human souls, but their bodies have been grafted onto other creatures. Qin Zi nodded with a complex expression. Seeing this scene, I'm afraid I won't be able to eat the hot pot anymore. If these monsters were good people in life, then we are helping them by giving them an end. If they were bad people in life, then we are also punishing the evil people. The main focus is a full 3-dimensional defense. You mean, they were specially made like this and then punished? Yes, that's it. With round after round of arrow rain, the blood volume of the beetle vengeful spirit was finally cleared. Now I just have to wait for half an hour, waiting for them to die. Qin Zi did not move forward rashly, but sought stability here, waiting until all the beetle ghosts died, and the experience would be settled. The next second, the purifying moonlight suddenly poured down, shining on the beetle wraith lying on the ground twitching. The original blood volume of 0 points started to jump upwards, and then the recovery speed became faster and faster, as if a chicken blood had been injected. What's the situation? If we keep adding blood, wouldn't it mean that we have to fight for a year? Qin Zi quickly realized the seriousness of the matter. The beetle grudges that were twitching on the ground and about to collapse turned over one by one. This time they seemed to be much bolder. Their pure white eyes showed resentment and stared at Qin Zi, and some of their true nature was released. Come out. The situation seems a little bad. If they keep resurrecting, we may be beaten to death in the end. Lu Yong held a spear tightly in both hands and said warily. I guess it's the boss behind the scenes. He feels that the pain we have given is not enough, so he is trying to dismantle them into pieces. If that doesn't work, we can only force our way inside. Kill the boss first, then the mobs will be easy to deal with. Lu Yong, if you fight the boss first and then the mobs, isn't the process reversed? Shadow Ghoul LV.3271. Summon hordes of shadow ghouls with peak attributes to fight for you, lasting 1 day, consumption of mana, 300 points. Come out, my ghoul. Qin Zi raised the staff in his hand, and the surrounding space suddenly became distorted. One by one, the shadow ghouls slowly crawled out. Their entire body was gray-white, almost blending in with the surrounding dark environment. You couldn't tell it unless you looked carefully. There are a total of 130 of them, each of them is extremely fast and hidden in the shadows. The beetle vengeful spirit that had just flipped up from the ground had not yet reacted. A claw was inserted into its carapace, and then it was torn open, and blood as thick as petroleum was sprayed all over the ground. -723, -771, -809. Shadow Ghoul's attack speed is very fast, and it can catch 3 times in 1 second. The damage added up is also very high. The beetle whined in pain for a while. Let me go, I'm just a dormitory administrator. I don't know anything. I have no idea what the dean has done. Please, let me go. Wah, quote. Accompanied by screams and fragments of information revealed in them. Qin finally understood some of the plot. This manor was originally an orphanage, specially designed to adopt some homeless children, and these beetle ghosts were originally just the staff of the orphanage. The management, no, it should be said that the control deceived these children and raised them to a certain age. Then they started drawing blood and selling organs. It can be said that he is a complete villain. Qin sighed slightly. He thought it was the boss's method to deal with them, but in the end it was just pure torture and punishment. But these people have absolute control over the manor. How did it end up like this? Liu Yang's face was full of confusion. I don't know. Judging from the wails of these vengeful beetles, one of the children should have suddenly turned black and then started punishing them. It's just speculation now. Let's see if our results can satisfy the other party. Shadow ghouls are so fast that they flicker in the shadows. The beetle vengeful spirits were torn apart from the middle, and inside they turned out to be various human viscera, scattered all over the ground. Finally, the blood volume dropped to 0. The beetle spirit was shattered on the ground, its legs were still twitching, but it was still alive. It takes a full 30 minutes. This time, the moonlight essence did not pour out. Kill prompts sounded one after another. Congratulations, you successfully killed a beetle spirit and gained experience, 120 points. Congratulations, you successfully killed a beetle spirit and gained experience, 120 points. Congratulations, you have successfully reached LV.10, all attributes +1, free attributes +4, you can learn the advanced skills of the Undead Summoner, all skill levels have been upgraded, blood volume +1000, mana volume +500. It seems that my guess is correct. The boss behind the scenes just wants me to kill these beetle ghosts. What exactly happened in this manner? Qin took out the level 10 equipment, the magic book of the undead, and could finally hold it in his hands. The new staff was thrown into the warehouse to eat ashes. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.